Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos. Doggone it. My name is John Boy. It is John Boy time. I am the COVID kid. I am COVID barely 18. Joining me as ever, the handsomest boy on earth. You're going to like the way he looks. I, Aaron Piet. Aaron Joseph Peter.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
You know, I mean, I'm also the spit man.
Yeah.
And the spit man cometh.
And you do spit.
And the spit man spitteth. And, you know, it's only $5 for every 3 minutes.
3 minutes, that's right.
$5. And you can get yourself a pair of well-queen trainers. In this economy,
Yeah, it's really nice.
in Biden's socialist communist America that we're
This
living
is coming
in.
out after Election Day.
Oh, is it?
This will be out after Election Day.
Well, I'm saying it ironically because we're still in Trump's America.
Yeah.
And, well, it's not his.
It's not.
It's out. His land is your land.
You said it, pal.
This land is my land.
Yeah.
From California,
To the New York Island.
there's the New York Islanders is a hockey team, right?
And to your right,
Speaking
my
of
left.
hockey,
Yep.
speaking of Mario Lemieux,
Yep.
Lemieux.
Mario Lemieux.
That's right. Yeah, everybody calls me a little hockey.
Notorious Frenchman, Matt Brousseau.
All right, cheers.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing swell. I'm
Good
swollen.
to see you, fellas. We had
Hey.
quite a debacle getting the beer, the piss up tonight.
Jesus
Holy
H
hell.
Christ! But now we have double the beer. Some of it's warm. I put again some ice cubes in the delirium.
Gonna be talking to you, fellas, about Rod Serling.
I love Rod Serling.
In a minute, though, I want to
Well,
get.
hold on. Before we start, Aaron, can you do the world a favor and bring the microphone down so
so you
there's
can
no
see the face.
Show
there's
my
no
face
shadow.
a little bit.
Yeah. Twist it up. There you go. No,
Is
that's
that good?
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to twist it more in front of yourself too, so it's just coming right in. You know.
Well, I
so,
don't-
so you don't have to move your head.
I tend to bob around a little bit.
Sure.
You're a bobber.
But you got to bob and you got to weave.
And Ram.
So I gotta say this. This is fucking insane, right? I'm working with this dude, and one day I see him like pound a tall boy, like a two Bud Light.
Like a high schooler?
What time of the day was this?
This is 8 a.m.
Oh, good.
8 a.m.
Whoa, okay.
And then he's bringing-
a tall boy at 8 a.m.
Yeah, and
this
he's-
is at work?
Yeah, this is at work. Outside, he's kind of. I mean, but he's got no problem with it. And then I noticed that like he's got them in the fridge, like in bags. So he's bringing them into the work fridge.
But he leaves them in the bags when he puts them in the fridge.
Yeah, but he'll pound them outside to the dome.
I mean,
listen, nobody likes pounding piss more than John Boy.
Oh, you're a piss
But
pounding.
I saw that at 8 a.m. and I wanted to fucking just barf everywhere. It's so gross.
He's leaving that's an outside bag. You know, this day and age, we should be much more conscious of.
No, it was like a plastic grocery bag. Like,
That's what I mean. That's just swinging in the wind.
well,
Like,
and yeah,
the
oh,
freezer kills the COVID.
by the way, nobody's wearing masks at this job. Nobody. Me and one other kid. That's it.
when was the last time you worked there?
He's wearing.
Well, I mean,
masks.
we're far apart, but
Yeah,
it's just a thing where it's like,
It's time.
guys, get your fucking shit together, man. We're fucking 8 months into this thing or more. Put on a fucking mask.
Jesus Christ.
So this guy is telling me, this is like my first conversation with him. And he's telling me, he's asking me like about weed. He's like, do you smoke? I'm like, yeah, sure, you know. And he's like, you know, do you much like with it, like, you know, sell it? Or I was like, no, not really. He goes, I was like, do you? And he goes, no. He goes, I used to do the other stuff though, the harsh stuff.
Harsh?
The harsh stuff. So I know he's talking about El Chapo, you know, the chop, the cocaine,
It's not the hard stuff. It's the harsh stuff.
the harsh stuff.
Yeah, I used to sell bad coke.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what he was
Basically
saying.
Ajax. Ajax.
Hey.
And he goes, you know who our biggest customer was? And I'm like, who? And he goes, it was the Handicapped House. And I'm like,
Oh.
You ripping off the handicap now?
I'm
They just need clean shop.
I'm
They're
like,
handicapped. Come on.
what? And he goes, there was a guy there, man. And he goes, and he used to have me like he couldn't even move his neck. He's paraplegic.
I think that's quadriplegic.
Quadriplegic. Yes.
He's barely quadriplegic. He's paraplegic.
Yeah. Well, he's paraplegic. Plus, he can't move his neck.
You just need to see a
So
doctor.
the guy would tell him quadriplegic, can't move his neck. He's like under my chair. There's money and a plate and a straw.
No.
Yeah. And he goes, just chop it all out. Chop it all out on the plate.
And hold it
and
up.
leave it on my my little chest lap, my little TV tray on the chair.
AKA my body.
My body, yeah. And he goes, so the guy's chopping him out. And he's like, and take this much out of the money.
Blow it up my nose like a shaman.
And he goes, and then put the straw up. And so then the guy fucking hoovers up like basically everything the guy chopped out. And the guy who's telling me the story goes, that's too much. I'm like, you chopped it out for him, you fucking psycho.
You know, here's the difference. That's service.
Yeah. With or without a smile, it doesn't matter.
After this experience,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd love a harsh dealer.
That's a good guy. That's a good guy.
He's chopping it up for him, puts the thing. I mean,
But he's telling me because I am one to judge, man. If this is the first story you have to tell me, I'm like, you are a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, he came right out with that.
Yeah, people don't know the slow burn anymore. Well, feel me out.
I think there's a lot going on with some people.
Yeah,
and they got it. This is the one.
Wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Conversation 2 or 3, but
if I'm a cop.
Before you find out if I'm the guy you tell about giving the quadriplegic too much coke.
Or, to be fair, maybe he knew immediately.
Yeah.
You were the guy to tell.
Yeah, I probably have that look about me. But he goes, he's like, I'm thinking about, I was like, oh man, he's like, there are bus customers, This is like this is like 91. He goes, I'm making $1,000 a week in 91.
Nice.
This guy's like a dad. You know what I mean? Like he's dad age.
He's making
age.
$1,000 a week?
In 91.
All right.
Nothing
to really brag about.
In 91, I guess it's
That's
decent.
pretty good.
It's all right.
This is just from that too.
Oh, he's got other shit going on?
He's got other shit going on.
Oh, okay, good.
Tax free,
Sure, it's okay. But it's nothing I wouldn't tell anybody.
No.
But he's got other stuff going on.
Well, the thing is
that's great.
He's saying that he's like, I was able to give my whole other, he's like, I'm working a full-time job too.
Oh, that's
And he goes, and I'm giving that whole check to my mom.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, so my mom's like, what's up? Because I still got new clothes and shit. You can't live with your mom.
No.
And be a secret coke dealer to the paraplegics, quadriplegics.
Well, it's probably better than being a public coke dealer.
So he goes, I felt like all these kids and the handicap, he goes, the handicap school. In the handicap school, I was like, I'm killing them, He was like, but they were happy and they were.
I'm killing it with the cripple game.
He's like, I'm killing them, I'm murdering them. And he goes, but they were cool and they're happy, so I was happy, The
Handicapped House?
Yeah.
Where is the Handicapped House?
I think you know the kind of house we're talking about here.
No, I know that there are, but is there the Handicapped House where they all...
It's got to be some special needs or
So there's a spot where they all hang out.
The place with all the ramps.
Yeah, and it's always...
Oh.
And the rooms are really dusty.
Yeah.
It's actually coke.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I wish I could reach that.
Could somebody scrape off my wall?
The landlady's going to make a killing in this place.
Powdered donuts make me go nuts.
So that's a little thing I wanted to share with you.
You think Hawking was doing that?
Hawking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He seems like a big coke guy.
But just like the idea of also like having that much of an upper in your system and not being able to move at all.
That seems frightening. But
Dude, oh my God.
I bet you they don't shut up.
Yeah.
Especially, could you imagine if Hawking got all fucking chatty Cathy on that shit?
Yeah.
Cats sound like meow.
I can't move my tongue fast enough
So we do have to
type
say,
out the words.
Follow us on Twitter at PP Podcast, on the Instagram at Profiles in Eccentricity. Get a gander at some of these weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha Lima with that amazing news thing from
God.
Matt Brousseau's episode.
Truly transcendent.
Really good stuff.
It was tremendous. It was a tremendous news article.
I was really happy about the inclusion of Notorious Frenchman.
Yes.
And then the text was...
The alliteration. Well, the alliteration...
Oh, sure. I'm not... I mean, sure. It was a wonderful headline, but the text was a Crowley cut.
Yes.
Or Crowley.
Unholy Crowley.
It looked great. The picture they picked for you is really top notch.
Yeah.
Primo.
Top chop.
Yeah?
Chop top.
Yeah.
Chop at the tops. Top of the chops. Yeah.
So, and then on the Patreon, $5 a month, you get an extra episode per week, and we're going to record that tonight. And so tonight I'll be doing Rod Serling, but I in addition to the cocaine story, I do have a bit of a thing about a young lady that recently went to the Tiki Adult Theater, which if you're a Profiles fan, you know.
You know.
Young 25-year-old lady. Been talking to her over the Yelp messages.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She'll answer like 2 questions a night, and then we pick it up the next day. And it's been going on every day for like a week or more.
Is this can confirm an actual human biological female?
I said the words, I'm not trying to be the gender police, but you're a woman, right?
Yeah. So how does a robot respond to that?
You can tell. It's just, she's like, yes, I'm a woman, LOL. And she's like, I'm in my mid-20s. And
she's going there now.
No, she went recently. So would you like to hear about that, or should I save that for the Patreon? Also, I got to do Kim Frazier's his bit.
I can't. I don't know if I can make that decision, but I want to hear it. I mean, you know, the good thing is, I'm going to hear it either way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the fact, Jack.
Because not only am I on the show,
yeah,
I'm also on the Patreon.
That's right.
And I get to hear it. And for $5 a month, I think it's a good deal. So I'm going to let you guys decide what you want to drop for free. I mean, I just can't wait to hear everything. If the Kim Frazier thing, it also sounds wonderful as well.
Well, that's like something I meant to do on the media episode. Matt, can I get a dongle?
Oh, if we're gonna have to dongle up, we should
take a break.
Yeah, but you know, I didn't want to do something. Do you have a shirt?
Let me do some of the stuff about the nice young lady here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, the teak.
I'll take a break after that.
Okay, and then we'll come back. We'll do a Kim Frazier thing, and then we'll get into Serling.
And it's Serling. I was confused for a while too, but it's not Sterling. It is Serling.
Yeah, it's always been Serling.
Yeah,
I know it's always been Serling.
We were never confused.
No, I'm just saying. I heard someone mention it a couple days ago. They said Sterling.
I have a Sterling rod.
I bet you do.
So I got into the Tiki Adult Theater. If you haven't listened to Freaks of the Teak, our 7th episode, I believe.
Yeah,
that is mandatory Profiles listening.
Yes.
You got to do it.
And then follow up, we John and I actually went.
Yeah.
That's right.
And this John, not just a John.
Oh yeah, no, there were definitely Johns and Juans and Wongs and
Yeah, when 2 Wongs make a white.
yeah, and it's definitely smelled Wong in there.
Imagine.
So yes, this young lady. Some of the newer things I've seen as I've kept following it on Google and stuff is young women being like, "Is this place safe to go?" And I'm like, "No, no."
But if enough of them do, you know, maybe it will.
Well,
be.
yeah, of course.
Maybe you say yes.
And so it's a place where, if you haven't listened to the episode, a lot of crack smoke, homeless people sleeping, a lot of
Poppers.
a lot of poppers that are sold at the door like popcorn, popcorn, and there's a lot. If you sit in the back, you hook up with other people, mainly male on male, the vast majority male on male, or you could be a naughty CD.
You could be a naughty T-babe.
Naughty T-babe.
But if you sit in the front, you don't have to see any of that shit.
Penny A Party and Play says.
Wait, no.
Penny A Party and Play.
Do you know what Party and Play is?
No.
Party and Play is also known as P&P, and that means you're like doing tweak while you're having sex.
No fucking way.
I mean, so it can mean
Party and play.
Yeah.
Wow.
It could. I mean, it could also be Coke, but a lot of times P&P is, it's that Tina, baby. It's
Yeah.
Cool. So what does kid and play mean?
Oh.
Now, Aaron, when did the COVID pandemic start?
I would say March 15th is when the in the U.S. that's when they had the kind of more the lockdown, but it was stateside.
And this is November.
February.
They even think it may have been December too.
Now
That's why it's COVID-19.
This is November 1st.
Is it really? That was the 19th strain of. It's because of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fellas, you ready?
No, I'm figuring out the basics, John. We got to get the background info before we.
Yeah.
Man. You gave me shit about Lexington and Concord. I'm giving you shit about COVID-19.
Because I thought it was the 19th strain of COVID.
No.
Okay.
No.
So what are you saying it is?
It's COVID-19
because it came out in 2019.
Okay, cool.
Okay. That makes sense.
Awesome.
Well,
Party and Play, Penny A. 4 months ago. This is November 1st. Today. 4 months ago, she says,
right.
I am going there today. I was there on Monday. Had a great time. If anyone wants to meet me, totally indoor, dark, tiny room.
On Yelp.
No,
On Yelp.
I mean, how's the AC? Is it?
If anyone, yeah.
Well, if there's no AC, maybe it's better that way.
I was there on Monday. Had a great time. If anyone wants to meet me, I am a CD who love to dress up in naughty outfits and play naughty at the theater. One person found this useful. One person found it funny. One person found it cool.
Which one were you?
None.
He was the CD.
Yeah.
There's I am thinking of going here as a question. Is this a good place for a busty 23-year-old girl to go? She wants to be touched a little or just rub one out discreetly. And
I think it's a good place.
Sure.
Well, that's who I ended up talking to.
Busty 23-year-old who wants to rub one out.
Yeah.
Does she have any other reviews? Like, does she?
Yeah, did she review like Dave and Busty's?
Yeah, she did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, there's no other reviews. She asked about the stockroom. What sizes do they carry there for latex leather apparel?
They have a stockroom?
Oh no, the stockroom.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's the place that used to be on Sunset. You know it.
Right now it's on Glendale.
Yeah. Charlotte Cross does a lot of shit from there.
Whips, chains.
Oh,
stuff.
nice. That's great.
Classic stockroom shit.
Yeah, we've all been.
So I messaged her on Yelp, and she goes, "Can I give you my phone number?" And I'm like, "Or can I get your phone number?" And I go, "Yeah," because
Why not?
of course.
John, you're a researcher.
And so I get this text from
For science.
Science. I get this text from a 323 number.
Did you Google it?
No. I'm totally fine with this person being as anonymous as they want to be.
Yeah,
And that's what I said. I was like,
good.
you don't have to show me what you look like, anything like that. I was like, just tell me everything about going there.
Yeah.
And she goes, so I get a text out of nowhere, which I love this mysterious opening. You wanted to know about my experience.
That's the best. That is the best. Yes. You like to play a game?
And I go, yeah. And then it's like quiet. And I go, will you share? She goes, yes, of course. What would you like to know? Anything specific? And I was like, just, whatever you took away from it. What age are you? I'm not trying to be the gender cops, but you're a woman, right? And she goes, I'm 25. Did I not tell you before? And yes, I'm a woman, LOL. And I was like, did you get harassed when you went, or did the guys leave you alone? And she goes, I didn't get harassed immediately upon arrival, but as you can see, I went there to get a little naughty. Then she says, I don't masturbate discreetly, so I got some stares and some guys came closer. Some touched, but they were respectful.
Oh, good.
When I went there wasn't too many people, but I did go during the day.
Well,
Amazing.
Did she wear a mask?
And I was like,
that's a good question.
so did you just like masturbate and leave? And she goes, I guess, yeah. She goes, I was mostly edging.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
it's a pretty good time.
And I was like, and were you touching them? And she goes, I did when they touched me. And I was like, and what was that like? And she goes, I was giving them hand jobs, and they were either grabbing my tits or fingering me. Oh, holy shit!
Well, yeah.
Now, do you think that maybe...
Now, when you say touching, I don't think fingering.
No, I don't.
No, do you think that this person is getting off on talking about this, and that is really what's going on?
That sounds cool.
In that possibly this is his shit, Zim's. This is this person's game. Is that perhaps none of this happened, but they like talking about it. As evidence.
I don't.
Here, do you want my phone number?
I don't. She was saying that basically the most unforgettable thing about it was the place. So I got the impression that it was real.
I mean, I would
She
say,
did go.
She went during the day. That
Yeah.
probably seems a little safer somehow.
Yeah,
even though
sure.
it's not.
No.
It isn't because you're in there,
That's
but
a
it
time
is
zone. There's no
because
time
everybody
zone.
else who goes in there is also during the day.
Right.
Nobody knows what time it is in there.
I think maybe she could be enjoying talking about it,
Certainly.
and so
Then it does not negate the fact that she did go.
yeah.
And I was like, how long did you stay? And also, this is like punctuated by occasional answers. I'll just go, that's incredible. I'll just say
Right,
that.
and then accidentally posting a
This is
misfit video.
This has been electrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously. So I go, I was like, how long did you stay? She goes, about an hour and a half. And then she goes, you ever been? I was like, I went once for 20 minutes. And I was like, was there any of that smoking crack or the homeless guys sleeping or any of that? And she goes, there was no crack. She goes, but I don't really know what that looks like. And she goes, there was people sleeping. I didn't really look too closely. And then she wants to know how old I am and shit. right?
ASL?
So now I'm getting into the story, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm in my 20s. Did I tell you? Like, I'm like, yeah, you said.
Yeah, that's a little. Did I tell you I'm in my 20s and a real girl who's also busty?
I'm legal for you. Do you know that?
And I go, was the guy at the ticket booth like trying to warn you about what you're getting into? And she goes, yes, LOL. She goes, I was laughing on the inside. And she goes, of course I went there for a reason if I was alone. And I was like, you are fucking hardcore, dude. And
Was he trying to warn you guys?
No, dude, he fucking basically laid out the red carpet for us.
and then she told me that, the other guys that she was jerking off, they came. These guys were not edging.
No, they came.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with the interview right now.
They came
Wow.
correct, dude.
They did.
Wow, I can't
Well, they were
wait.
respectful.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, it's a hobby.
Yeah, this is part one of a.
It's
X-part
it's a
series.
serial. It's a serial.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Dude, do you know how nice that is to do that for like 10 minutes a day? Just talk to some psycho that went to the teak and was beating off the fucking mental patients
And did
around
she
her.
tell you she's
And
in her-
jacking him off.
Did she tell you she's in her 20s?
She did.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I think she's from the Handicapped House though.
Oh, well, how do you think she jerks all those guys off?
I don't know.
Well,
Different kind of handicap.
On Chop, yeah.
Yeah, the chop really brings her to life.
Well, she's probably just paraplegic.
Yeah, exactly.
Two free hands.
Yeah.
It's true.
But she doesn't know what coke crack looks like.
Yeah.
Did you get to what was playing on the various screens?
No, we didn't. I just asked her. I just asked what movies were playing.
You just asked her that now, so
I
maybe
did.
in the next 24 to 48 we'll get an answer.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, stay tuned. And we will be right back after this break. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And we're back.
Cool.
Now, a long promise to our boy Kimmy Frage. Kim
Now, that's
Frazier.
from the Atlanta Pizza Coalition.
That's exactly right, Aaron.
Oh, fantastic.
That's our buddy. And I was telling him
Delicious.
for the longest time he
It's
was.
a delish Kalish.
It is. It's a delish coalish.
Lord Baelish.
He's a big, as we are. He's a big Carlin fan.
Hell yeah.
Hardcore history. And so I found this thing. I've been meaning to play on
Dan
the show.
Carlin.
Dan
for those
Carlin.
Of you don't know.
So George is cool.
No, fuck.
So this is from, and this is so good. Part of the storytelling that makes him so good at this. It's just incredible that this guy does this show alone for 6 fucking hours on and on.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody outside the booth nodding or something. He's talking with such passion.
Oh yeah.
And he fucks that shit up, and sometimes he'll have to do a fucking second take with passion.
Yeah,
It's extremely well edited.
Yeah.
Because it does sound like it's just one take, but it's well edited. It's well produced. He researches it for months and months.
I mean, you have to imagine.
And so he's talking about this is from a Blueprint for Armageddon one, and he's talking about he's just got, at this point he's gotten finished through talking about the Germans going into Belgium and everybody thinking from wars before that dying for your country is so great, and then it's just a meat grinder.
Because Blueprint for Armageddon is about World War One.
Yes.
And
the
it
advancements
being the first modern war.
Yes.
And how the blueprint for Armageddon is both how modern warfare is setting it up to be this war,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and also how that war itself sets up the world for World War II.
Yes. And the rules coming out of it after, because it was that much of a blueprint for Armageddon that people go, whoa,
We gotta write down some things that are not cool.
Yeah.
No,
It's
like
very much.
gases,
It was
yeah.
it was a transition of digital to analog of war, or analog to digital of war. So it's like the mini disc of war in that it's horrible,
right?
and nobody wants to have it ever happen like that again.
Yeah.
Well, it is amazing too that even today using gas is such a level of war crime that like secret prisons and drones aren't.
Totally cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and nukes are on the gas is almost on the level of nuke, but nuke is just like if you drop a nuke, then no one has done it.
Oh well, there's no rules against it.
Yeah,
There are rules against gas.
Yeah.
There's no rules against nukes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those rules that
Yeah.
like this is really bad.
And
we shouldn't do it.
everybody has rules against landmines except for us in Somalia.
Yes.
Which doesn't even have a real government.
We reserve the right to fuck you up.
Yeah, we're like,
What about the Somalis?
Meanwhile, like, are we even using landmines, or are we just giving them to other countries to use? Like, are there any?
Well, they've all signed
stories?
up to not use them.
Right. Well, are there?
We're only reserving the right to use them. And
where?
Somalia.
Where?
I guess when we go to war with Somalia. I don't know.
Oh man, this
all
could
the unexploded ones that we have to use those little rats to find.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just if we go to war with Somalia, it'd just be a landmine war?
I think we have landmines everywhere.
Yeah.
And that I think they're just there already.
Well, that's why the Somalis became pirates. They were like, fuck land.
There's no mines in the ocean until we put them there.
So anyway, he's just talked about the Germans coming into Belgium and getting fucking mowed down and having to deal a la Battle of the Bastards with the piles of bodies becoming obstacles to even the people that created the piles, where they go like, well, now they can hide behind there.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what do we try to do?
We killed too many.
We blow more holes
through the dead.
through the pile of meat we've already created?
Well,
It's a real flesh wolf.
There is. We just
Which means meat grinder.
we just watched Green Room for the first time last night.
Fleisch is like flesh.
Fleisch wolf.
Yeah, fleisch.
So anyway, this is where he takes off, and you'll know when we get to where I want to get to.
Handicapped is dead.
Here we go.
Oh my god.
Who's roaming around the battlefield, who normally is in Berlin with the high general staff of the German military. The Germans encourage their staff members to get out in the field sometimes and see what's going on. And this guy had a particular interest in this battle because he was one of the people who planned it. For years, he'd been planning this battle. He took his vacations from Germany to Belgium just to look around where the battle was going to be fought.
Can you imagine?
And now, since he had a vested interest in hoping
Let's
his
go on
plans were
vacation.
carried out correctly, he's wandering around this battlefield at night looking for what the holdup is and finds out that a general commanding a certain part of the attack is dead, killed by machine gun fire. So this
Ooh.
guy, this staff officer,
You should just-
who historians have described as absolutely devoid of fear, big man, grabs the unit of the dead general, 5,000 or 6,000 men, in the dark, and
troops.
starts leading them toward the objective.
Grab this guy's gun.
You know, you got all these forts, more than 400 guns from the forts, and then the guns on the German side. It's just got to be this unbelievable, chaotic mess in the dark. And this one general has grabbed this unit and is heading toward the city of Liège, which is protected by this circle of forts, right, with men in between all the forts. He finds a spot that's undefended, leads this unit past the forts into the city on this gamble that maybe the city won't be defended, or maybe if I walk in there with 6,000 guys, they'll just lay down their weapons. Now, the Germans don't have a lot to celebrate in their military history in the Second World War because the cause was so nasty. Doesn't matter, how many good things their troops did in terms of military history, the military side of things. The cause is so corrupt it taints everything. The Germans can take some justifiable pride in the adventure story of this guy because first he walks in the city and everybody just sort of surrenders to him there. And then he goes up to the citadel, the main defense in the center of the city. With his sword hilt, he pounds on the door, demanding the surrender. And they open up the door, and they surrender. Yikes. Talk about boldness.
A little earlier before this, I didn't want to put in too long of a clip, but he's talking about the dark, and he goes, now he's like, think about the horror of war in the day, and now take away light.
Yeah.
It's freaky.
I remember that. I remember that one.
It's freaky, and he clearly has made somebody in the booth start cracking up by throwing in the word freaky.
Hey, why
so
do you say
then
that?
you can feel him because you can hear him start to laugh. He's clearly watching somebody else.
freaky.
He's like, that's what's going on.
If you think war is bad in the daytime, now imagine in the pitch black of night.
You could call it Blueprint for Armageddon. You could call it yikes. I mean, what sums up World War I better than the word yikes? It's so good.
World War II also.
Also, pretty yikes.
A lot of yikes there.
It's got a
Hulu with the anti-Semitism.
So, boys, tell me what you know about our good friend Rod Serling.
You're going to tell us. Oh, you want us to?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Kimmy Frazier for being a
Kim
good friend.
Frazier,
That was for you, buddy.
That was also for all the listeners. He did a great thing by gifting that wonderful experience to all of us and the listeners.
Well, I mean, I found that, but I just knew he was a fan, so I specifically was like, I need to remember to play that for Kim, just because that's my favorite moment in hardcore history thus far.
If you have a VR headset,
We should have a VR orgy.
okay.
Yeah, put that further down the list. Let's hear Matt's idea first.
I'll add that. There's a Dan Carlin World War I VR experience. It's only like 15 minutes. It's only like 15 minutes.
Yikes!
It's brutal, and the whole time you're like, yikes! It's
feel like I'm choking on gas.
yeah. I mean, you got to imagine it, but it's
You got to imagine
Yeah.
it.
it's amazing, and
Is it in the dark?
yeah. You're in the trench in a dark, like you go.
Actually, I do. Was this wasn't? I remember him talking about
It
making
came out
this.
like 6 months ago, and it's really amazing. It's too bad it's only like 15 minutes.
Yeah, well,
but
I think that's about as much as I could handle of trench warfare.
yeah, it's pretty brutal. It's a thing. It would be a museum piece if there were museums right now.
Yeah, I
Matt,
think
can
that
we get
was
rid of
that,
this?
I think that was his intent, was for it to be a museum thing.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
Now you were asking us to tell you. A
Yeah,
little
what
bit
do you know about him?
Well, I know that Rod Serling is a veteran of war, and I think he's World War II, and I think he was a paratrooper.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I know he likes to smoke Chesterfield cigarettes
Yes.
because they're toasted or something, or they're smooth. And I know that
3 to 4 packs a day. Oh, God. 3 to 4 packs a day.
I know that
50 years of age. Open heart surgery. I think he had a heart attack, like still in the hospital, like a second heart attack. And back then, open heart surgery wasn't even done that much.
Right.
And they were like, no, necessary. And he just,
he croaked on the operating table.
yeah, he croaked on the operating table from another attack. Like it was, 3 to 4 packs a day.
That's a lot of cigarettes. That means
Think about who smoked more cigarettes on TV than Rod Serling.
Yeah,
Nobody.
Well, that means he was always smoking a cigarette.
That means he was taking a break when he was on TV.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like 3 to 4 packs a day means you do not stop smoking all day.
Well, so that's
Yeah.
what 68. It's 80 cigarettes.
I don't
60, 80
know.
cigarettes. I think there's 20 in a pack.
I
right?
don't know. Why
there's-
did you get all weird?
There's 20 in a pack, right?
20 in a
so
pack.
60, 80 cigarettes a day. Probably unfiltered. Probably back then.
Oh, God.
No.
Well, you can only hope.
I think they're filtered. They're probably filtered. But
the
you know,
T-zone.
they gave them they passed them out to the soldiers. That's
Right,
how we got
exactly.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that and Coca-Cola, right? The things of,
Marilyn Monroe.
yeah.
They passed out Marilyn Monroe.
Pictures, Aaron.
Of Maryland at that time, really.
I-
Well, I mean, all kind. No, I mean,
Jane
it's just
Russell,
like,
whatever,
It was
was-
just calendars. I don't know if the U.S. Army paid for it and gave it to them, but they got, there was.
Porno?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't porno.
So you say they're smoking, drinking Coke, and jerking off all day. Way
Yeah.
to really, you know what? I support
It sounds like a
I
pretty
su-
good time.
I support our troops, man.
Killing Nazis, oof.
So, he's, I didn't know he was born into a Jewish family. Did not know that. Born on Christmas Day, 1924, right? So think about that in relation to his getting into the army. He's his older brother.
He's like 17.
And he was going to enlist earlier, and one of his teachers got to him, was just like, he was like, listen, man, he's like, war is temporary. He's like, education is ongoing. He's like, just graduate and then go. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, while he's wanting to go, he's running the school's newspaper, of course.
Yeah.
He's Rod Serling. And he's really for the war effort. So, but yeah, he was kind of down to listen to these kind of like wiser adults, and he did, and then he went as soon as he could. But before that, he was born in Syracuse. His dad was kind of a small time inventor, and then his father-in-law was a grocer, so he got a job there just to earn the steady income, because now he's got the 2 boys. And he became a butcher after the Great Depression. Rod's older brother would go on to be a novelist and a kind of aviation writer. That was Robert J. Serling. And he would advise some of the more aviation-themed scripts later on for Rod.
This plane can totally disappear.
Yeah, there's no one on it. This guy screams on this part of the plane.
Right. Now, you'd have to imagine that the monster would just boogie board out of there when he raises his arms. But he grows up mainly in Binghamton, when his parents moved there in 26. And, like many Jewish families that we always find in this show, or if you're just interested in entertainment, period, the parents always encourage performance. Like little plays at home, writing, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's not relevant to the Marx Brothers episode I'm going to do, but yeah,
I'm sure it is. But it's just something that is unique. So, start them early, folks. If your kids want to do this shit.
Life hack, be Jewish.
Yeah. The dad built a small stage in the basement.
Really?
Yeah, you called it a dungeon, I think, a minute ago.
If you build it, they will come.
My dad put up a basketball hoop.
Rod would put on plays with or without other neighborhood kids.
Oh, did he just talk straight into the wall? Imagine, if you will, place beyond sight and sound, beyond time and space. Welcome to my basement.
Aaron, you're not far off.
That's pretty good.
Oh,
His older brother said,
My clothes don't fit. My stuff doesn't fit. Who's got a sink?
You gotta
Pass me one of those cancer sticks, Robin.
yeah.
Give me a super port. I got a lot to say.
Story of the kid who found a dead cat.
His older brother said that at the age of 6 or 7, Rod would entertain himself for hours acting out the dialogue from like pulp stories, magazines, movies he'd seen. He would talk to the family and he'd ask questions. He wouldn't wait for answers. He'd move on to another one.
Yeah,
and he was And he goes, there was one time where he was on one so much on a trip from Binghamton to Syracuse, 2-hour drive, that they all decided to just let him talk and not say a word. And he didn't shut up for the whole 2-hour drive.
Well, they all learned a lesson.
Everybody purposely remained silent. This is like kind of what we did with Nick in the bathroom last night.
Oh, God.
We keep getting ready to watch a movie, and our roommate Nick, he's always ascending the stairs the minute everybody's sat down.
Yeah.
So then we decide, when he comes back, one at a time, we'll all go upstairs.
So he takes fucking 20 minutes upstairs. Finally sits down, and as he's on his way down, I go, John, go upstairs. John goes upstairs for like 5-10 minutes, and John comes back down. And like at this point, Nick has like made himself a drink. He's stomping around the fucking house.
Stop.
And then as soon as he sits down, I fucking get up off the couch and I go upstairs and I just hang out in the hallway and I just text everybody, I'll only be 30 minutes. And so we were gonna start a movie at 10, and we started it at 11.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a joke. But it was a great time.
It was a grand old time.
So he's in elementary school. He's class clowning. His teachers think he's kind of like, a fucking lost cause.
Always good when teachers.
But then when he gets to 7th grade, one of them encourages him to get into public speaking, and he gets into the debate team, extracurricular activities centered around public speaking, and starts writing for the school newspaper. And then he takes on this like activist role. And you can see it so much in the Twilight Zone, is that there's so much conscience in it.
Oh, yeah.
156 episodes. I think he writes 93. And he was good at tennis and ping pong.
Oh.
Too small for football at 5'4".
Jeez.
Okay.
But you know what being 5'4" is really good for?
Smoking cigarettes.
Jumping out of airplanes.
Oh yeah.
He was he would do some staff work at Binghamton Radio. Didn't have anything published. Was trying to write. Got accepted into college before the war, but he decided to follow his brother into the war. And so it was his civics teacher was the one that told him, yeah, war is temporary, and what are you going to do after the war? And so the morning after his high school graduation, he went into the U.S. Army. And so he's 1943, that is, right? And he serves under General Joseph May Joe Swing.
Hey, Joe.
And Orrin D. Hard Rock Hagen.
Orrin D.
Hard Rock Hagen.
Hagen?
Hagen.
How do you spell that?
Basically like Hagen-Dazs.
Oh, Hagen.
Yeah.
So he was,
Like
But a U instead of a second A.
Did they say why he was Hard Rock Hagen? Is he like, you guys, Buddy Holly's okay to listen to here.
This is some pretty heavy shit.
So he instantly is trained to be a paratrooper, right?
Yes.
To jump out of fucking airplanes with a goddamn parachute.
And a shit ton of equipment. Like all the equipment they had for Normandy was just it was an insane pack of stuff that if any part of your parachute didn't work, you were going to die because of the weight of it.
Yeah, it was 5'4". Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
He was remembered. He gets into boxing to blow off steam while he's doing para training, and that's why a lot of the Twilight Zones are boxer themed and shit.
Yeah, and boxing. It's a good if you're a small guy. It's.
He was a flyweight.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of them are airplane themed. Guys, like either
tons of
space
airplane,
or
tons of boxing.
earthplane. Yeah.
Yeah, he got to the second round of the finals before being knocked out. He had
Real
about-
Steel. Wasn't Real Steel? I think that might have been a Matheson Twilight Zone.
Really?
What is Real Steel?
Controlling robot fighters, and then it was made into a movie.
Yes.
Well, there was a Twilight Zone where the guy fights a robot too. You remember that?
That might have been it.
If
Too.
Futurama did a episode based on that too.
They did a Hugh Jackman movie was made.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim.
Is Hugh Jackman in Pacific Rim?
Huge Jackman?
John, continue the story, please.
So he gets knocked out. He was known for his berserker style.
Oh, now hey, that's Wolverine too.
No, you want to making fuck berserker?
Berserker style it usually means the guy is losing.
Well, the berserker style was actually employed by some paintball guy in Green Room.
That's
Aaron.
right.
I think you'll remember that.
I mean, the berserker tactic.
So yeah, I mean, he's basically like
straight up fucking Odin himself. Down there.
he's just very. The berserker style is very in line with him being this ADD kid.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know. And so he sees he's getting sent to California in April '44, and then he's like, fuck, I'm getting sent to fight I think you call them Japs. I call them Japanese people.
No, you shouldn't do it.
But he was disappointed because he wanted to fight the Germans, of course, as a young Jewish lad who wouldn't.
The besta.
And,
Asbestos.
So he
we should stop saying that first one, by the way.
Which one?
Yeah.
It's short for Japanese. Japanese peoples.
Yes, that's good.
But if you're in a rush.
The island is called.
But if you're in a rush, comma.
So if you're Russian,
So he goes to
Nippon. The island is called Nippon.
He goes to New Guinea in the Philippines, and the Philippines, excuse me. And so he lands in November '44 in the Philippines, and he's basically there the whole time, I think, except for some occupation work after in Japan. But it's rough.
Yeah, the Pacific Theater is no motherfucking joke.
So his first thing is like just helping basically clean up after the 5 divisions that had advanced in.
You'd be cleaning their bodies up.
And then for, quote, a variety of reasons, he gets sent to the 511th Demolition Platoon, which is called the Death Squad because you get sent there and die.
Oh, you don't clean up the dead.
No. It's his sergeant, the leader of the squad, said he screwed up somewhere along the line. Apparently he got on someone's nerves and he got sent to the place most likely to kill him.
Would you shut the fuck up?
This is a straight up 50% death rate.
So was that like a speech the commander gave? He was like, guys, just want you to know I'm here because I screwed up somewhere and now I'm going to send you all.
Well, this was obviously
all of us to our
after
death.
Serling got famous, and then they started looking up
Oh, I see.
his work, whatever.
So the commander didn't say that to the troops.
And then this guy's name is this is Frank Lewis, right? Sergeant Frank Lewis. And he says Serling was not suited to be a field soldier. He didn't have the wits or aggressiveness required for combat.
No, he wasn't just willing to just kill people nonstop.
I think I think it's again just this kid with a big imagination. And he goes, at one point we're in a firefight. We're in a foxhole. I can only imagine, say I'm Serling and Aaron's Frank Lewis. Frank Lewis looks over at Serling and he sees that he hasn't reloaded any of his extra magazines.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he goes, he says, Serling sometimes went exploring on his own against orders and got lost. What a nightmare.
It sounds like he wanted to be anywhere else.
But it shapes all of the writing, the themes of sudden death, his political views,
The screaming.
there's
The reading.
there is death in his face every single day in the Philippines, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, one time they were dropping food from a plane
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
for the troops.
Yeah.
And his friend, another Jewish guy, Martin Levy, is like acting out some shit from a movie,
Oh no.
and the crate just cuts his head off right in front of him. The food.
Hello, my baby. Ah.
What?
Yeah. So I was like,
See, kids.
and
So
Always look up before you perform.
don't start them young.
Serling leads the funeral services and placed a Star of David over his grave.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, because you go from that's
This
such
guy's
a-
standing up, entertaining the rest of the platoon. They're all resting
it's
under trees.
it's the happy like they're like.
They don't see it coming.
Well, this is such a nice moment. I even forget we're in war. I
Well,
mean,
maybe
nothing
the chute failed or something. It probably came down like a ton of bricks.
nothing
dude.
can ruin this moment.
You know.
Wow, this is nice.
I'm sure it wasn't gently
Boy, am I
swaying
hungry.
down. You know.
Just it slowly cuts his head
Hey, do you guys see anything behind me?
Hey,
you
is
guys smell chicken?
off. Is something cutting my head?
So he
Jesus Christ.
this was the late Leyte. That was the big battle he was at.
Letty.
Letty.
I believe so. Letty,
And,
Letty Gulf.
He got 2 wounds,
Maybe it's
including
different
one
one.
to his kneecap. His wife would say later that she became accustomed to the sounds of him falling down the stairs when his knee gave out on him.
What the? Oh God! So he probably dislocated his knee.
The rest of his life,
I had to have surgery because of that. It's fucking frightening that you're just gonna like take a step and then everything is got. You just Jesus Christ.
Nothing. And then he's doing straight parachute on February 3rd, 1945, under MacArthur. It was after the 2 wounds.
MacArthur. MacArthur, leave him there.
You shall return.
They marched into
Babe, he didn't get the people he left.
They march into Manila. They get to the city, and the Japanese general in charge, vice admiral in charge, he had arranged the 17,000 troops behind a maze of traps and weapons and ordered them to fight to the last man. Ugh. And so for the whole month, they fought block by block for Manila.
Fuck.
That's a really good hardcore history too.
Yeah?
When he talks about the Pacific Theater, especially some in Japan and the Philippines and those all like the, there's like 1,000 islands.
Yeah. And he's going, you got to imagine. And Sterling's like, I got to imagine. You got imagination and fuck.
You gotta imagine these sneaky Japanese motherfuckers come in there. But he talks about them like like Japanese death squads. I know I'm getting a little off track, but like under cover of night, Japanese death squads coming in and just gutting you while you're sleeping, stuffing your cock in your mouth, and then leaving.
Right.
And
that's the thing too.
And it's in the jungle. He's like, and it's another one where he goes, now you gotta imagine war being hell. Now imagine in the worst, most despicable weather, unhospitable weather in the world.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes the size of bats. Like, it's freaky. Yikes. And it's night sometimes.
So he goes, when there's like, when you free this much of the city of this no man's land, then the locals will come out and celebrate you. And they'll throw parties, and there's banquets. And he goes, one of these parties, he goes, Serling and all of his buddies, they take fire, and all these civilians get lit up, and a bunch of his buddies in the platoon get lit up, and it was just the Japanese doing that guerrilla style, just hiding. Here they all are. They're having a party. They think they've won, and they just start fucking blowing them up while they're drinking, and this guy, Sergeant Lewis, he goes, he notices that Serling runs into the line of fire to protect a performer that was on stage. What? And it saves the performer. It's like, he's got too much talent. Not another one.
Saw this once before.
He was probably out of his basement.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna get hit by some food.
So yeah, they had a 50% casualty rate, over 400 men killed.
That's fucked.
They took fire from an anti-aircraft gun. 3 of his buddies died from anti-aircraft on land.
Yes, that's another thing
That Carlin talks about. Really?
Yeah, they would just like move stiff and just fire anti-aircraft.
Anything to do.
God, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ends with him occupying Japan, and he gets the Purple Heart, Bronze Star, and the Liberation of the Philippines Medal.
And a lifetime supply
of
Chesterfield Zoo.
Nightmares and flashbacks. Matt is right. I think we were talking about you know how actually, Aaron, we've talked about it before. How seemingly normal a lot of these guys were. I mean,
yeah,
they're not waking up and choking their wives, apparently, or maybe they were.
No, some of them definitely were. I mean, a lot of the normality is it's that
they get it out on their wives.
You know how JFK cheated on Jackie O and it was never really reported?
No, we did not.
Well, that's the thing. We know about it now, but it was a gentleman's agreement basically among everybody not to publish how insane someone is being because they're like, no, he was in the war. It's okay. Don't.
Yeah, true.
Know. And so you don't.
Well, I think one thing that's helping too is he says, he goes, I was bitter about everything. And at loose ends, when I got out of the service, and he goes, I think I turned to writing to get it off my chest, and I think that was incredibly cathartic for him.
And that's that is kind of what we would talk about. You know, we talked about Hemingway, and we talked about Orwell, and we talked about all these guys and who else did we talk? We watched that one documentary. Who was that about?
Oh, Salinger.
Yeah. You know, the reason that they seemed normal to some, or at least outwardly, was that they were getting it out.
Yeah.
They were writing.
Yeah.
Catharsis.
Yeah.
I mean, Vonnegut, the shit he went through. Jesus
I mean his books are,
they are PTSD flashbacks.
The subtext is the weight of them is not light, but because he's funny and he's clever and he has all of these characters that are fun, it seems like it could be light. But when he calls Slaughterhouse-Five the Children's Crusade, that is a very, very dark joke.
Yeah,
and the point is
they were children
because they were children, and because he was talking to one of his best friend from the war. And he was telling him and his wife about the book he was going to write, and his friend's wife goes, "I don't want you to glorify war," and he says, "I'm not going to glorify it. I'm calling it the Children's Crusade."
Yeah,
because it sounds fun, but no, these are children committing the worst acts that you could ever do.
Well, it's so funny too because when Carlin says that thing about these guys that were told like fighting for your country is a great honor, and then they go and they see the meat grinder and they go like, nothing fucking glorious about that. You know,
no, these guys in World War I were like, if you step off the wooden walkway and you just get stuck in this quagmire of muck, and then you die slowly while 1,000 troops march past.
And how much of wartime, especially like in World War I, is digging a ditch?
Yeah, yeah. So how about this? Yeah, and this is what I really realized when I was talking about this stuff with Caesar. Everybody's a builder.
Yeah.
Everybody's like a skilled crowd. It's like, all right, we need to build a gigantic fort to surround this town. It's like, all right, we'll have it done in 2 days. Like, what?
Yeah, well, all the privates they put down their guns, they pick up hammers, and
everybody's a fighter and a builder.
Yeah.
They were like, there's no other way.
Yeah.
And that was what set them apart, from everybody. And I don't even know if that's been ever fully replicated in any fighting force.
What is your profession? Well, a few things.
Yeah, I'm a singer, I'm a dancer.
I consider myself a bit of a shutterbug.
I'm also a performer.
I'm a prestidigitator. Where's your wallet? So he goes back and he goes home and he's working at like a rehabilitation hospital, and then he's accepted to Antioch before the war. And so then he goes and he would kind of go and he would do a semester and then he would work, and he was just doing it like at his own pace.
That is the best way when you're out of high school. That is the best way to college.
Yeah.
Is to do it at your own pace. You don't need to do it right away. Mm-hmm. Go, have
a gap year.
Give yourself the space to do it so you have energy and you're excited to do it.
Yeah, so you're excited to go to school again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I think that if I went to school now, apart from all the bullshit that school is with teaching you nothing, now I would be so good at it.
Well, that's the thing. When I was 25 and I went to college,
I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I flunked out twice because the first time was me just being like, I'm supposed to do this, right? And then I went there and I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing else to do but other than just get drunk all the time and leave.
Steal bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Bikes.
I was blacked out when I did.
Hey, listen, leave race out of it.
Yeah. Well, we just lost a bike at the house, so it's kind of a touchy issue.
I think I've said it on the show before, like, the Greeks didn't teach you math until you were 30.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not there yet.
Yeah, and the brain's not done
develop. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not done braining,
It's not.
and it's braining men.
Hallelujah.
I love braining men to the dome.
Oh God.
What? Well, that's how you become a zombie.
He's taking advantage of the campus radio station, and
You took advantage of it.
What is it?
Was it passed out like Matt?
was passed out like Matt.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No.
Well, he took advantage of it.
Okay, well, when was Matt passed out? When he stole the bike?
Yeah.
No.
You were.
Blacked out.
Yeah. I
You
woke
said
up
it.
on
You
the
said
bike.
You
I came to. If you
You took advantage of the bike.
came too.
Took advantage of the bike. Oh boy!
Yeah.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Bikes! Yikes! That's a real bike, yikes.
And I came too. Very
On the
cool.
bike.
Very cool.
and I farted.
Plus, I farted. That was a tasty time.
Oh, I still swallowed.
Good.
Oh God.
I know.
Came to.
Feels so good.
So this is the first time he starts directing the radio plays and stuff on campus, and he meets his wife Carol.
Hey.
Carol, that's listening to him fall down the stairs for years later.
Music to our ears.
The Foley must have been
Check this
amazing
out. Carol died in January.
this year.
Yes.
Wow.
45 years after her husband and was buried next to him this year.
Is that a mystery?
Huh?
I don't know.
Is what a mystery.
Is that an episode of The Twilight Zone?
Oh.
Well, yeah, she lived in a house with 3 packs of cigarettes getting smoked every fucking day, and she lived to the ripe old age of 90.
Yeah. And
I think it's a fucking mystery.
and then every day after he died, 3 packs went missing every day. Who knows?
Who done it?
They smoked themselves.
So she's a fellow student, and at first she didn't want to date him because he had a reputation on campus as a ladies' man.
The 5'4" mate lady.
Yeah,
He's probably packing heat.
yeah. He was like, I love slaughtering the Japanese.
With my rifle, with my cock.
He joins the Unitarian Church. I don't even know what that is.
That's for units.
It's nice.
Nice. And that allows him to marry his wife. I think it's basically just don't be Jewish.
Or Unitarian. No,
and they have
Unitarian, isn't that like they'll take anybody?
I think it means you eat units, which you do.
Oh, and you touch units.
Yeah, you
I
grab, you grab whole units, lead them through the dark.
I don't
Yeah.
speak Latin.
They had 2 daughters, Jody and Anne. Anne would say that her dad would work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, but she felt like she could always talk to him.
What did Judy say?
Jody. I don't know. Anne seems to be the one that she's the one that spoke at his funeral and stuff like that. She's the more outspoken
She's
Serling.
probably the theater one.
Maybe. Is there a Serling theater?
Well, no, I imagine that like his style and
The theatrical one.
theatrical. Yeah,
The ham of the
Yeah,
fam.
yeah.
The ham of the fam?
very
Nice.
very good job. That's the episode title probably.
Well, they were Jewish.
And so they had like their little lake house that was like, kind of like the cabin, some distant.
Sure, but with a lake.
Yeah, some distant family member has it. They go there every year, and so
Matt throws
now,
up
now
there,
check
yeah.
this out. Check me out one time like this. For extra money in the college years, he would work part-time testing parachutes for the Air Force.
That sounds like a great time.
I just can't get
It's
over
not a good time at all, Matt.
Matt,
He received $50 for each successful jump, and he had once been paid $500 for a hazardous test.
That's okay. That's not a great time.
His last test jump was a few weeks before his wedding. How she dealt with that, I have no idea.
What the fuck?
And in one instance, he was paid $1,000 to test an ejector seat where the previous 3 guys all died.
I mean, is there any shock that this guy became the guy who wrote the Twilight Zone?
Yeah. Was there ever a Twilight Zone about a guy who couldn't die, and he was just tempting fate every time?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know, man.
I feel like they're
Also being the dumbest guy in the unit. Where's my magazine? Who cares? I'm going to go, what's over there? I mean, what?
magazine. What, something to read?
Oh, sounds pulpy. Ugh.
Boy, it smells like shit.
Wait, so a couple weeks before his wedding, he does the ejector seat.
You think
No. That was the
sounds
one.
like he didn't want to get married.
Yeah.
Well, that was his last test.
Oh, that was just another
He said
one.
his last test was right before the.
okay.
Anything to get me out of this wedding.
If you think this is scary, I'm getting married next week. Godspeed, Mr. Serling. Thank you for your Serling. You like that, huh? Yeah.
No, I hate it.
Okay, cool.
I think that you're just basing it off of those two things. It just sounds like a guy who, there's an adrenaline to war or something.
Right,
where,
it's the Hurt Locker. I gotta get back out there.
Yeah.
Well, I think and his brother being this aviation guy, and that is like that is the thing of science fiction, right? It's watching the skies.
Yeah.
It's a
thrill.
blessing in disguise.
It's a thrill. It's a rush. You're not getting that going to college.
No.
You're stealing bikes.
But so he's doing work at other radio stations, in kind of collaboration with the Antioch, and he says this is interesting. He goes, I learned time. He goes, writing for a medium that is measured in seconds. The importance of radio. He's like, you gotta fucking move, man. And so he goes to managing the station in a few years, and then he takes charge of the whole production of Antioch radio broadcasting in Springfield, and he writes and directs programs. He acts in them sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was volunteering at WNYC first, and then it's Antioch is Ohio.
Oh, Ohio.
Ohio.
That's right. Okay.
And so he's acting sometimes, and he creates all of their output for 48 to 49 school year, and all of the writing was his for a year.
Damn, he's a unit.
He is a unit.
An absolute unit.
Yeah.
And so while he's in college still, he gets his first kind of like acclaim as a writer, writing for a show called Dr. Christian, and they had a script writing contest, and his won $500. It was called To Live a Dream, and he meets voice actors, one of which is Earl Hamner Jr., and he would later be in Twilight Zones. So now he's getting into all of the entertainment side of things. And then he's getting 45 to 50 a week at the radio station. He's selling freelance scripts of radio programs, and radio was just really fucked. And you could tell it kind of broke his heart, because he was like, "This is a thing you can just listen to, and it's nonstop imagination. It's like you listening to that Wolverine podcast.
Yeah.
The Wolverine podcast.
Like the medium is so good, and he's just seeing it get fucking destroyed. Yeah. People would send their shit in, and then they would hear a story just like it a week later,
right,
from some staff writer.
Yeah.
Well, radio was the first big medium that could extend further than any newspaper could. Mm-hmm. That could then be corrupted by the burgeoning capitalist class in America. It was like this perfect timing of uber rich from railroads and other things and other media to then take over radio and then ruin it.
And I think part of its spread and appeal was that you could partake in the consumption of it while you're doing other stuff.
Other things, that's right.
Right. When you're reading the newspaper, I mean, you can be on the train, but like you're not doing anything else.
Right.
Yeah. That's why it's like perfect war programming too, right?
Exactly.
You're cleaning the house. You're doing something else.
Yeah. You give your wife a couple of bouncing betties or whatever, or black beauties or yellow greenies.
Sibians,
she cleans the whole house while she's listening to Rod Serling, fucking talking about, whatever he's talking about.
Right.
Langoliers or something. Or you are driving a truck or whatever it is you're doing. It was one of those things that
sure.
But it's still so engrossing. It was just something. It was brand spanking new shit, man. It was real new shit.
Yeah. It was unlike any other medium. Not any other medium, but unlike any red medium.
Yeah.
It's live.
But it's also the one, don't forget, that he grew up on. There's specific writers from radio that he really liked. And so he really wanted to go into it and really wanted it to work for him. And it does for a while.
He grew up doing live performances in his basement. And so it's a thing that made way more sense to him because the radio itself is usually live. Or was, especially in those days. It was a live thing.
Yeah.
It's the closest thing to theater.
Sure, yeah.
Live clothes.
We'll come back to that, Matt, at that point in a second. But So he gets another thing he sends to Grand Central Station, which had like dramas, romance, and he's got a fucking thing about fighting, boxing, and the guy's like, this isn't. There's like. It's like ladies. Listen, like, nobody wants a fighting. He goes, like, this is good. And he goes, you should. With TV, you can see a fight.
Right.
And he's like, try this baby over at one of those television stations.
I mean, imagine just hearing Muhammad Ali on the radio as opposed to seeing him.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference.
Cassius Clay.
He had.
At the time, he was Cassius Clay.
I'm just saying in general.
So he goes.
okay.
He submits lighter stuff for that same show called Hop Off the Express.
Ooh.
Oh.
And that's his first nationally broadcast piece in September of 49.
What's it about?
That I don't know.
And it's called Fresh Off the Express?
Hop off the Express.
Hop Off the Express.
Hop
Yeah.
off the express.
Oh, excuse me. It's Hop Off the Express and grab a local.
Oh, I think I know what it's about.
Oh, hello.
And then the Dr. Christian script that he won the contest for that would air in later that fall. And he's getting $75 a week as a professional writer at a network radio station in Cincinnati. And he's still freelancing and stuff like that. But, he would talk later about the
Still selling coke to the Handicapped House.
Not at all. No.
Making $1,000 a week.
Smart move.
See, you've been paying attention, of course. And
Pay attention to everything you say.
and then he's selling scripts to the parent company of the radio station, which is very smart, I think.
Because they can then send it out to their other affiliates.
Yes, and but after you sell them, they can do whatever they want with
Right.
them. And then he was also saying the thing about the staff writer thing in television and in radio. He goes, you gotta fucking have ideas, man. And he goes, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he's like, if I could do it all over again, he's like, I'd never be a staff writer on anything. He's like, I would just do everything freelance. He goes, because there's all this stuff that had potential, and you kind of have to rush it out, half-assed, and then it's gone forever.
Right.
You know?
Plus, I feel like if you're staff and you have ideas, then they become everybody's ideas. But if you're freelance
Sure.
and you have ideas, those are still yours.
Yeah, and he gets into this idea that's now pretty Twilight Zone. This is an idea for a weekly radio show in which the ghosts of a young boy and a girl killed in World War II would look through train windows and comment on day-to-day human life as it goes around the country.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
And he goes, and then it was changed to a living boy and a girl.
No.
And it's called Adventure Express, and they travel by train with their uncle.
He's just like, all right, we're going to Switzerland next week.
Well, it's nothing like the other thing.
Yeah, and each week they find a new town, and they hop off the express and grab a local. Probably.
Like, fuck it, that's like,
Mr. Serling, this is a great idea. Is there any reason that the children have to be dead? Well, it's freaky. Freaky.
Oh, so this is what he says about it. This is the exact quote. From a writing point of view, radio ate up ideas that might have put food on the table for weeks at a future freelancing date. The minute you tie yourself down to radio or TV station, you write around the clock. You rip out ideas, many of them irreplaceable. They go on and consequently can never go on again. You've sold them for $50 a week. You can't afford to give away ideas. They're too damn hard to come by. If I had to do it over, I wouldn't staff write at all. I'd find some other way to support myself while getting a start as a writer.
that's the hardest equation, though.
And this is from a guy that wrote fucking 92 episodes of The Twilight Zone.
I wish I wrote more.
But it's also a guy who's a success.
Yeah, and it's
And his first success came after 72 failures.
That is perspective.
He got letter
That is
after
perspective.
letter after letter of no.
pitching the Twilight Zone.
No, just writing submissions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so number 73 was this.
Oh no, it was
Oh, you're gonna get to it.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Carol said of him in 1990, she goes, I think Rado would have been one of the first to say he hit the new industry television at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
The first job he got out of school was as a continuity writer in Cincinnati. He worked there for over a year before he could freelance. At that point, he was really working on television scripts, mainly because of that one rejection letter that said, hey, try TV with this boxing shit. And
So they,
yeah, they
stop.
They talk.
Try TV with this boxing.
Black and white screen.
And it's just like at the time where he's getting out of fucking college, he's already a war hero. Like it's a pretty fucking good time, And the thing I think that's funny about it is, I think you'll appreciate this a lot. A lot of what will populate his struggles in TV is you got to remember, this is the network CBS, one of 3.
Yeah.
But also, you've got the fucking you've got the Craft Variety Hour.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the sponsor is in the room.
and that's right.
It's the sponsor show.
It's the sponsor show. And so he would find things like a guy, like in one of his scripts, he'd say to somebody like, "Oh, you got a match," and they'd be like, "Oh, one of the sponsors is a lighter. Yeah, we got to lose the match."
Can't do that. Yeah.
And so he's like, "I can't talk about fucking anything the sponsor and the network
Right.
finds any problem with,
Yep.
whether it's politics or anything." And he's coming to this to do politics specifically.
Right, so how do you escape? How do you get around?
Make your own show and make it about science fiction.
Right.
Yeah. So you don't. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about Earth politics. These are just aliens that look like people.
Yeah.
You have to imagine.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I think of that a lot. One with the Dana Carvey show, where because they grew up with that. The Dana Carvey show specifically asked for, like, tried to have sponsors for the episodes.
So they can find
So
a
they
way to
could-
make a joke out
So
of it.
yeah, so it would be the joke, the Taco Bell, the Mountain Dew,
the Mountain Dew Dana Carvey show.
Yeah. And Gene Shepard was a guy who would have like an hour show, I think syndicated out of Chicago and spread across the United States. And then he would be in the middle of the rant about like, this is life, this is real, this is what life is. We got one of these sponsors, but because he had such power, he could complain about the sponsor before they got to the sponsor.
Yeah.
But it's only because he was so big that the sponsor needed him
Yeah.
more than he needed the sponsor.
There's sometimes I remember Bill Burr used to do that on his podcast talking about Sherry's Berries. Sherry's Berries is a podcast sponsor. They sell berries, like chocolate covered strawberries and shit. Like, that Valentine's Day's coming up. Get your wife some fucking Sherry's. If you gotta get your wife some fucking strawberries, get some Sherry's Berries. Like that kind of shit is so funny. Like when the
These guys having to talk about this shit.
it's really
And
funny.
the funny thing is that it works. Our best
They don't care.
The best advertisement our show ever had was the read on Time Suck.
Yeah.
And so that's how you know it works.
Yeah.
So getting these guys to do it, they feel really fucking stupid about it. Sometimes you get a good one, you don't mind. I mean, we got
By the way, me undies.
We're
walking around the house.
No, I think we'll
my
do- I
dick's falling out.
Dude, I
He
love
loves
it.
it.
I
John
love it.
loves
I'm
it.
gobbling
Well,
it up.
okay.
He thinks they're his undies.
We might have to do it for this week. I'll have to look it up before we come back. But
If you want to insert a MeUndies ad right here,
Yeah.
this is probably a perfect time for an ad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
let's take a break. Put on our MeUndies. Swap our hogs out.
I got pajama pants. I'm wearing them around the house.
Give each other Sherry's Berries.
You get the pajama pants?
All right,
I gotta play best
hold on,
fiends.
no. just.
I got a hot on for these undies, bro. And I got a hot on in them, too.
We'll
Yeah.
save it for the read.
Yeah, I call it a Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, General Hagen?
Yeah,
Nice.
Haagen-Dogs.
Yikes. All right, we'll be right back. And we're back.
Oh, hi. Great.
Now, fellas.
Now, where were we?
His
We were talking
rod
about-
is Serling.
So basically, Rod Serling is he's doing this thing where he's going like, oh, radio shoots it down, try it for TV, and he would do that, and then eventually a lot of these would get picked up.
it's too hot for TV.
Yeah, and sometimes it's too risky for radio. But on the Kraft Television Theater program in 1955,
Yeah, it really works in noodles.
they took his script patterns, and he had just moved. He had like up and quit at some staff writing job, and he had moved to a brand new town, and this was live TV, like you were saying, Matt. And so he goes, he's like-
Theater.
he goes, for me, he's like, it was just another script. And he's like, I didn't even watch the broadcast. And he goes, and we told we went out with my wife. We went like
we told the bro.
we told the babysitter.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knows our number yet. We just moved here. Don't worry about the phone. And the phone never stopped ringing because this show was a huge fucking hit. This somebody said like.
With the go out on the town and grab a local.
No, this is Patterns. This is it's a Germanization of this corporate boss, and he's an old hat. This is Ed Begley Sr.
Oh,
And,
father of Ed Begley Jr.
He's checking his email.
No, who told you that?
What?
and he's
we missed Aaron's good joke.
yeah, no, I heard it.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It's pretty much John's joke.
It's Ed Begley's joke. Junior. So there's an old corporate boss, and he's there's a young, bright executive, and he's supposed to take over his place, and he's resenting the young guy, and he doesn't want to fire him because that looks petty, and so instead he brings the guy in and has him like help kind of take down his competition. He brings him closer, but uses his intelligence and energy.
He sucks.
And this guy was fucking modeled on Hard Rock Hogan.
Hard Rock Hogan.
The general from the para troop. And
Hard Rock back then was what, like the Birds?
in 55? I don't even think so.
It was Buddy Holly. Okay, yeah.
Hey, bird. You know that new sound you've been looking for? We're listening to this.
Jack Gould, who is a New York Times television critic, said the show, this 1.5 hour of television, was one of the high points in the TV medium's evolution for the power of the narrative and the force of the characters, the brilliant climax. Saturday Review said, in the years I've been watching television, I do not recall being so engaged by a drama, nor so stimulated to challenge the haunting conclusions of an hour, not a half hour's entertainment. It was a hit with audiences, and so they demanded a second live show.
Shit.
Wow.
And it's just straight drama. Just
Straight drama.
nothing
just
weird,
about
nothing freaking about it.
Well, the thing that'll happen, Aaron, is like you said,
No ghost kids.
he can't really do things that were supposed to be about Emmett Till would get changed to just generic foreigner.
Right.
And he was sick of that.
Ugh.
And so that was why it was like to escape all this the sponsor censorship as well as the network censorship. It was let's create our own show and then let's have it be sci-fi.
Right.
And that's when you get to more heavy-handed stuff like I Am Night, Color Me Black. About the guy who kills the Klansman
Yeah.
and then the sun never rises.
Yeah. Monsters do a Maple Street.
Right? Yeah.
Wow, that's really. I'm not familiar with that, but that sounds really amazing.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
it's a good one. But yeah, he gets much more
Was
heavy-handed.
it the last pure person died on the cross? Is that what that was? That one?
Oh God!
Is that the one you're speaking of?
Yes,
So
yes.
The last line of that episode is.
No, it's not. It's midway through.
Oh God!
But it's a black preacher
Oh,
that was like, did you feel good when you did this? And the guy's like, yeah, I felt good killing that, Nazi piece of shit, basically. And then he turns to the crowd who's already baying for his blood, and he's like, this man, should die. And he goes, it feels good, doesn't it? Turning around to the crowd like that, being part of the majority. Mm-hmm. And he goes, he turns around and he goes, the majority's all there is. He goes, I feel like minority died with Christ on the cross.
Whew.
And it's just so fucking heavy. Like, blew me away in 2020. I was like, God damn,
brought to you by crack.
Yeah, Chesterfields taste good.
But it's just how fucked up it is where it's
You'll
like,
die on the cross for it.
we won't let you tell this story if the character is a black kid, so make them a Italian
Polak.
Yeah.
Well, they really were saying we've now got a sponsor or a brand attached to this, and they know that people gobbling up this dirty yellow cheese. A lot of them are racist.
Yeah.
Racist by Kraft too. Racist like mac and cheese too. That
Kraftwerk.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Kraftwerk. Yeah.
So that just launches him, man. That 1 hour of live TV overnight changes him.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, 1 hour live TV is a big fucking deal, even today.
Yeah. Well, and there's only 3 channels. Yeah.
33% of the market.
So he just gets a flood of congratulations, job offers, novels. You got to play, radio, anything.
Drawing, scribbles,
And so then, and this
refrigerator.
is
doodles.
this is the bitch of what happens, and you can totally understand this. he starts selling all of his earlier work that's just laying around, and then the quality
Yes.
Yeah.
isn't as good, so he starts getting criticized. And they're like, oh man, Serling's taking a dive. And he's like, no, it's my earlier. But how hard is it to turn down all of those phone calls when you do have something sitting right there?
But you don't have the full creative control over them because you're just selling the rights to them.
No, but also they weren't as good.
Right.
But they were there. But also, he didn't think that one was that good.
Right.
So
Getting rid of it.
So at that point, but the one that was a success, I mean.
Oh, he didn't like Patterns as
He
much.
didn't think it was anything special at all. And just the audiences loved it.
Now, was there any subtext to it? Or was it just entertaining?
Well, people said of all of his work that eventually got to TV in this time, they go like, there was something to it if you watch all of it where you say there's, more than anything, there's an underlying humanity, a desire to understand the human condition that you can see in The Twilight Zone and forever after. So all of it was a little bit special, but it, in hindsight, when you already appreciate his style, that's easier to see.
Right, of course. That's one of the, it's great to find
And so
somebody that
Patterns
that you
Patterns
love.
was script 72, not 73. He was script 72. So it's
can we
71,
watch it?
71 rejections. Funny you mentioned that.
Fellas.
Oh no, excuse me. And that would later on be adapted into a film.
Patterns?
Yeah. So
Don't tell me it was Big Kahuna, dude. I'll fucking stab you in the chest.
No.
Oh, thank God he didn't say it was.
No. Please don't stab me in the chest. Also, Big Kahuna, great movie. See it in IMAX.
In fact, if you ask John for a movie recommendation and he says, watch the...
Swimming with Sharks, Big Kahuna back to back, Matt will do it and not bitch about it.
Did you do it?
I did.
And he had a great time.
Yeah. I did. I really enjoyed it.
Matt's more cerebral than you.
And don't make this a me and him thing.
No. It's not a you and him thing.
It's
a
too
him.
late.
It's a him and everybody else thing.
Don't let me be with everybody else.
Serling writes Requiem for a Heavyweight. That's
You're
on,
not seeing the big picture
That's
here.
on Playhouse 90, 1956. And so then they moved to California, the whole family. And
You can smoke all day out there.
the TV shows, a lot of them are still airing live, man, which is such a trip to me.
Yeah.
Wait,
live
I
TV.
asked if you could see Patterns, and you said funny. You should mention that.
No, I was wrong. It's another one that only is something that will come up.
Funny.
But you can only see it at the Paley Center.
Oh, the pit for television.
And it's actually Rod Serling's take on Christmas Carol.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So he wrote it after Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol.
Is it Scrooge?
I'm sorry,
This is-
Christmas Carol, not Christmas Story. I was thinking Christmas Story.
Yeah, no, it was
Christmas Story was like fucking 1979.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was it?
And so it was something that was like on TV, and it's only at the Paley Centers in New York and LA. So we can go there and watch this whole version
Hell
of
yeah.
Rod Serling, and it's Peter Sellers.
Oh, cool.
And Peter Sellers is like a fucking dictator in it, and it sounds totally over the top. And so it's him. It's you go to the ghost of Christmas Future, and he's looking over. This dictator's looking over everything he's destroyed.
Oh my god!
like
amazing,
Osmandius type of thing.
Right? Yeah.
yeah. Behold,
Yeah.
be mighty.
Yeah.
It's really yeah. So that's something that's you people at home or around the world, you can't see it.
What?
Yeah, no.
But if you're in New York or Los Angeles,
it might be on torrents or something like that.
Oh, saying.
Torrance is also a city.
Torrance is in California. That's right. No, it's on it's on torrents.
Kazaa.
Also a city in California.
So yeah, he would move to California. They kept the Binghamton place, for little getaways and stuff. And so he's getting into this shit with the social issues, the censorship from the sponsors, and it's just making him sick. He would talk about it in interviews. And he would just, I really like when Serling gets to like dad age and starts like being like having some, this has been electrifying type commentaries.
Yeah.
What you see here.
So the one he's mentioned, it's called A Town Has Turned to Dust. And that was also written for Playhouse 90, like the boxing script. And he had to put it a century past, even though it's about Emmett Till. And they had to avoid race altogether. It has to be some foreigner.
Oh, yeah. That makes right. I mean, you put it 100 years ago. There's no way there's race involved.
Yeah. And it's actually, originally it was about a Jewish pawnbroker. But it was inspired by Emmett Till. And that was still too fucking...
What, the Jewish pawnbroker also whistled?
And yeah, just so if listeners, if you don't know the story of Emmett Till, He was like an 11-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I think he was that young.
He was from Chicago. He was with his family visiting the South.
And he was accused of whistling at a white woman, I believe a woman, and she basically told her husband, and he told everybody in the fucking town that this young black boy whistled at her at the grocery store, and they ran him up. They dragged him behind their truck.
Yeah.
For a number of miles through the dirt roads, and then into basically a barn, and where they hit him in the face with wooden boards with nails coming out of him, and beat him bloody to death. And it was
And then they threw him in the
torture
river.
and savage, and they threw him in the river.
And then people didn't want to hear about it. Imagine that.
Huh.
People don't want to hear about the slaughter of black youth in our streets.
And then
Isn't that funny?
then they
It's controversial.
the white guys went on trial. They were all judged non guilty by the white jury.
Yep.
And the mother had an open casket, and her phrase was, "I want them to see what they did to me."
And our friend Nakia Seacrest, actress, played Emmett Till's mother.
Wow.
And she was the one that told me about having an open casket on purpose so that people would see what they. I mean, it's the before and after pictures of Emmett Till are truly savage.
Yeah.
And this is why you take every accusation credibly, and you look at the evidence and not just.
Yeah, well, and for the woman's whole life, she said until her last years, she said that she wasn't lying, and then when she was
on
about
her
to die,
deathbed, she said,
I was
"I was
lying.
lying."
Fuck me.
No, fuck her.
no, fuck her, John.
Jesus. God damn, that's brutal.
Anyway,
So anyways, the network was
MeUndies.
like, "Fuck this."
Meanwhile, this guy's got to fight sponsors.
But yeah,
They really
this,
Emmett Till the script.
This is another one. He was a script is sponsored by Ford, so they just take out a reference to the Chrysler building. Can't even talk about the building.
Man, yeah, how soft are these fucking cowards?
Yeah.
I know.
Don't even mention them.
Yeah. Don't say anything bad about my product that we make way more money than you
And so
do.
he's talking to Mike Wallace in an interview. He goes, "I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to have to battle sponsors
60
and
Minutes,
agencies."
Mike Wallace?
Yeah.
Wow, he's been around for a long time, huh?
Yeah.
You know the Fox guy. What's his name? The Fox
Who?
guy? The-
Chris Wallace?
He's his son.
No, for the love of God.
John,
No.
a couple months ago after the debate, John was like, "What the hell did this guy do?" Well, it was his son.
Son of Mike Wallace?
Yeah.
Yeah, came out of a ball bag. Awesome.
Came out of a ball bag.
I came out of a ball bag.
Yeah, hold on,
As a
hold on,
ball
hold
bag
on.
descendant, I resent.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't beaten up properly.
You know, my 5 kids came out of a ball bag. Later, a test tube, but first,
You're 5?
at least 5.
Try
least
65.
At least 5, John.
Yeah.
By the way, I did listen to some of Dan.
Can I finish this quote?
No,
No, let us finish.
John. We have
Please.
so much to discuss here.
We have a lot to share too. You get us up.
Yeah, take your time. Can have another 3-hour episode.
Go ahead.
No, go on with your brilliant insights.
Oh, I was going to talk about another famous newsman.
Tell me about a famous... Ooh, Kent Brockman? Hit me.
Kent Brockman.
Kent Brockman. Simpsons.
Simpsons? Los little Simpsons? Los Simpsons?
Tell me.
No, we'll do it later.
Do it now.
No, but you're right. You're right.
I know I'm right.
Doesn't it feel good?
He says, I don't want to have to compromise all the time, which in essence is what a television writer does if he wants to put on controversial themes. Mm-hmm. So then he goes, here's the pilot for The Twilight Zone. And it's called The Time Element. And they go, well, and they just do it with Desilu for Westinghouse, Desilu Playhouse. Desi Arnaz and
Lucille
Lucy Ball.
Right.
And Westinghouse.
Yes. And it's about a guy who has vivid flashbacks of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And he goes to a psychiatrist, and then there's a session. The twist ending is that the patient has died at Pearl Harbor, and it's the psychiatrist having the flashes or whatever.
It's a plane.
And so it got such a huge response that CBS was like, all right, let's do this Twilight Zone thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but it makes sense because that plane episode is basically exactly that. The episode, I think it's the first season.
What plane episode?
The first season, episode 3 or 4 even. Or is
About the plane that never.
or maybe that's season 3. But the Twilight Zone episode where the guy goes, the plane showed up and no one was on it.
No people, yeah.
And everybody's like,
No people.
And
I think that's The Arrival. I think it's called The Arrival.
But then eventually everybody, every piece of it breaks down further and further until you realize this one guy. Imagine.
true. Yeah, that is kind of like that. Yeah.
but it's such a good twist. It's such a natural. It's not forced.
Yeah.
It's just this.
And it was 60 years ago, so it wasn't hack.
Yeah, true. But it's not a sharp turn. It is a very casual.
It is
turn.
Yeah,
where
it's a legitimate mystery.
Yeah.
And not like a hard like punchline.
Yes. Right.
Twist. You know.
Yeah, it's not like and me. It's it just works.
Yeah, this guy, he just never stops working too, you know, like amidst all this, if there's like downtime, then he'll just like have a teaching job,
Sure.
you know?
Smart. You know, you're just working.
He was just always fucking working, man. And so he fights really hard. October 59 is the premiere. So it's basically 1960 and on. And he fights really hard for creative control, and he brings in Charles Beaumont, Richard Matheson, son, Chris Matheson, friend of the show.
Yeah.
And he goes, the science fiction format would not be controversial with sponsors, network executives, or the general public, and would escape censorship, unlike the earlier scripts for Playhouse 90. And that is true. And it's the thing, you know, me and Matt were talking after we were here, and then it was a joke. It was a joke, and then and then we went home, and I think we both were watching Twilight Zone, and we were talking over text, and it was like, you know, we were talking about how post-war, like, there's so many themes of like just sheer humanity and you know, like and it's like, you know, for a guy that was steeped in blood, is like, it's all about forgiveness. It's all about trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
And the sugar for the pill is aliens.
Yeah.
Because aliens are as American as apple pie and monster
right.
trucks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, you think aliens...
We're a country of aliens.
Believe it or not, aliens... America owns aliens.
Yes.
People in Europe don't give a fuck about UFOs.
Yeah.
Americans are like, fuck yeah!
Yeah.
You know, it's such an American thing.
We love aliens and we hate aliens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a thing, you know.
We're desperate for them, but we don't want them.
I guess part of the thing of, like, you know, the advancements and the science that happened here.
The anal probing.
No, I mean, as a country,
The nuclear
our interest in science fiction, I think, is a little bit more because we always are there kind of first.
Yeah.
In a lot of the advancements, you know, and that's something a lot of people would move to America for.
It's also pride.
The excitement.
It's a pride to it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is like like where we lack culture. We do have technological advancement.
But we never use it.
Only if you can blow people up with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we have the advancement, but we don't actually use it. So our schools are not better than the ones in Europe, but we imagine a future in which we always are, and so we've just used the idea.
And we attract the best minds from other countries, while neglecting our young burgeoning minds in our own schools.
Yes, and then we get angry that the other countries
are taking the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We build up the requirements so that only other countries can
our
take
aliens.
it. Yes.
But there is a huge thing of humanity and gentleness that runs through, like, you know, his work, and I guess the work he would pick up from other writers. And there's one time where he doesn't do a closing monologue. And it's because he wanted the audience to make up their own mind, because he equally believed both sides were right.
Oh.
Very interesting.
And that was about a guy who was collaborating with the enemy in war, and he was trying to convince his fellow prisoners. It's called The Rack. And then he gets put on trial, and he's found guilty of collaborating with the enemy.
But is he?
And yeah, Serling just...
But he is, but is that worth killing a man?
But also, yeah. And also, under those circumstances, what a man does to survive, you know?
Yeah, it was like cannibal stuff.
It's the only one where he just walks off and goes, yeah, you figured it out. Because I haven't figured it out.
Right.
You know?
I mean, if you can write a story where you don't know the truth to it,
that's really tough to do. And,
it is.
But if you can, it's, you know, it's one of those where, like, well, this guy is a traitor, but he's a traitor to a corrupt cause. So is he really a traitor to humanity?
Right.
One of those things, one of those kind of moral ambiguity questions.
I mean, that
you
type
can
of
do
thing,
those really well.
It means you've written a really good story if it's fleshed out enough where you understand both sides and you can't pick one, and your character is so real and honest that that you don't want them to choose a side because that's not who they are.
Right.
And then the fact that you at the end of it you don't.
Well, you know what? I think
That's really
I think
brilliant.
John would probably point out that one of the great examples of this in every, not just the finale, but every episode is The Sopranos.
Oh yeah, not telling them what to think.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yes, very much
having you kind of like understand people's decisions, even though they're kind of despicable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the moment, those decisions make sense.
Yeah.
To write it such a scumbag, but also
So real that you realize that he is a human being.
you understand.
Yeah, it's an army captain in charge of collaborating with the North Koreans.
North Koreans.
And
Sound like the guy from Back to the Future.
should veterans be, basically it was very much like in the papers at the time. Should veterans be charged with a crime if they cooperated with the enemy while under duress? And so it's a courtroom drama where the accused is put on trial for helping the enemy by urging fellow prisoners of war to cooperate with the captors and not rebel. And he just throws out great prosecution and defense points. And he's found guilty, and yeah, it was just like he was just like, okay, that's that, man.
What did he, when he came back and went to college, what did he major in? Did he get a major in?
It was like broadcasting, and then it was writing,
Got it.
literature, all that. So the Twilight Zone it's canceled twice.
Yeah.
They changed the format.
It went to an hour in the 4th season. The third time it's canceled, he doesn't fight it. He's just over it. And then he does, he goes on. He's doing a little bit of film stuff. He co-writes Planet of the Apes.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know.
Yes.
It makes sense.
And then it's really
that's
funny that
Twilight
little Heston trio. It's like Serling Green and Planet of the Apes,
Omega Man.
and Omega Man. It's like he just has that little thing where he's doing Matheson and Serling back to back, right?
Which makes, that's the easiest thing to fall into, right?
It's just like it's funny though because he's such a John Wayne of the time.
Right, but John Wayne's stories are the stories of that time, and Heston's stories are
the stories of that time, yeah.
Yeah.
Which are all stories of a different time. And that's the time element, which is the Twilight Zone, and it is a place beyond space and
And
time.
if you're listening right now,
And, don't adjust your television. Oh, wait, that's the Outer Limits. Shit.
God damn it! How could you do this to me?
I know it's the Outer Limits. I'm busting your bull sack a little
right now
bit.
it's about 11:30 in the PM.
If you're just joining us, it's daylight savings time.
Well, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but basically he
Whoa, why not? What? You're not going to go the whole thing.
well, it's just he kind of
About the cancellations?
He bounces around. He's not really thrilled with Night Gallery. They want to push it more horror than sci-fi. It gets packaged with other shows so that it qualifies for syndication. They pay him like $100,000 to do like the syndication introductions that are different. There's one where he writes a script about a plane that if it goes below a certain altitude, it will explode.
It never slows
It's
down.
It's basically speed, and afterwards,
And this is for Night Gallery?
this is I'm not sure what this is
I feel like
for.
fucking Tales of the Incredible. or
Flight
some shit.
Gallery.
Very
And he
good.
goes. So anyway, it's this whole thing where the whole thing is mapped out. Like if the money doesn't transfer, everybody will be killed. If the plane goes below a certain altitude, everybody will be killed. And everybody started phoning in the same threats
In real life.
in real life.
What were the threats?
If the plane...
The same thing. If the plane goes below this they saw the TV drama,
And-
and then real people started doing it.
Which is like Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 3.
Three.
Holy shit, that's
And,
amazing.
and he goes, and this is in one of his dad moments. The first one I didn't tell you. I love it when dads get mad.
Oh, yeah.
The first one he goes, he's like, I'm trying to do a radio drama. He goes, and next thing you know, he goes, 12 bunnies come dancing out talking about toilet paper. He's like, and he's right. He's like, he's getting into like racial justice.
Yeah.
And they're like, doop, doop, doop. And it's like,
How can you think of Emmett Till in a moment like this?
but he goes, after this one, he goes, I just wish I wrote a damn stagecoach drama with John Wayne or something.
Yeah.
And
for the people that don't know about Die Hard 3, Die Hard 3 has a
Judd Apatow movie.
No, the brother of Hans Gruber is the antagonist. It's
Ozymandias himself.
Ozymandias from
Jurgen. You're saying Jay.
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, who was also Alfred in the
Yes, that's right.
I guess I'll take these butt plugs back down to the...
I guess I'll take these gold to pins. And he calls in a bunch of threats to schools, saying that they're going to blow up somewhere in the New York area, and that distracts all of the law enforcement and anti-terrorism squads, etc. And they were all basically within a certain distance of the Fed, the Federal Reserve of New York. And so it left it open.
And wasn't this such a good idea that someone actually did it?
No, it's such a good idea that the FBI contacted
They talked to the writers.
and they're like, so, pretty good idea.
Yeah, see?
Where'd you hear it? That kind of thing. And that's what made me bring it up to John about this. You know, when something is such a good idea in fiction that it could be seen as an inspiration. In this case,
I mean, the IRA did the bomb buried in the engine because of the French Connection.
Right.
They saw it and they go like, we can do that.
Yeah.
That's easy.
No, think about it. I could put a man on the moon.
And everybody's looking for the dirty cargo in the back.
Right.
Yeah.
What if it's in the engine? So he's not too thrilled with, he does the Night Gallery. He's not too thrilled with that. He has steady work the whole time. He does a little Western called The Loner on TV.
Huh.
And
It's the low.
they were like, we want more action and less characterization. And he was like, no. So then it was doomed.
Plebes.
And A Carol for Another Christmas, 1964.
That's funny.
Oh, here we go.
Modernization, a plea for global cooperation across nations. It was telecast only once, December 8th, 1964. The only television movie directed by Joseph L. Mankiewicz, and was the film in which Peter Sellers gave his first performance after a series of near-fatal heart attacks in the wake of his marriage to Britt Eklund. That makes it sound like she was responsible for the heart attack.
So I think David Fincher's next movie is about
Mankiewicz?
Yeah.
Really?
Or Mankiewicz. I don't know how it's pronounced, but
It could be Mankiewicz.
but I think it's Gary Oldman and
Gary Oldman.
I think it's Gary Oldman and I mean the cast is supposed to, and I think it's David Fincher doing this Mank thing.
Interesting.
Wait, what is Mankiewicz's first name?
Joseph
Mankiewicz.
Joseph L.
Okay.
But I think there's a few famous Mankiewicz, so we
that's
gotta look
probably
into that.
true.
Yeah, but
He was Joseph Leo Mankiewicz was an American film writer, screenwriter, and producer.
Yeah,
long
yeah.
Hollywood career, won consecutive Oscars for both Best Director and Best Writing.
Wow.
For A Letter to Three Wives, 49, and All About Eve, 1950.
Oh,
And
there's
then-
only one Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
He was also a Dracula.
Yeah,
So Sellers portrayed a demagogue in An Apocalyptic Christmas.
Jesus fuck.
that sounds cool.
And
That's
Sterling Hayden,
I love his punk album.
who's also in Doctor Strangelove with Sellers, was in it. Eva St. Marie, Ben Gazzara.
Eva Marie Saint was also
Eva,
she played Lois Lane in the original George Reeves Superman serial.
Mancini does theme music.
No shit.
Yeah, he just does the Peanuts theme. it's perfect for a really dark movie.
Yeah, he recorded
a lot of people allergic to peanuts.
So it's not commercially available. It can be seen at the Paley Center for Media in New York and Los Angeles, and also at the. Oh, we can also go down to the University of California, Los Angeles, at the Film and Television Archive and see it.
Oh, cool.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's where I used to make my kids.
Turner Classic Movie telecast A Carol for Another Christmas for the first time in 48 years on December 16th and 22nd, 2012. And TCM aired it
the Apocalypse.
again.
December 21st, 22nd.
Yeah.
The next year, TCM did it again.
Just in case anybody missed it.
He was in, he would co-star in things. He'd be the guy like in an occult shop. There's one where he co-stars with a very young Jodie Foster.
Cool.
And he's like got like a weird, beatnik goatee and stuff.
Sure. And he was like, kill Reagan. Kill Reagan.
0 Hour was his final program. And that was radio. And so he goes back to radio, and you can see, man, like, I think radio to him is like comic books to you and me.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, I just want good shit on this. Because think about Rod Serling listening to fantasy radio in his room and just being like, oh,
Being transported,
God.
yeah.
Like, now, Matt, this is one for you.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy.
His final radio performance, totally out of left field.
I love left field.
It's just a few weeks before his death. It's called Fantasy Park. You ever heard of it?
No.
It's a 48-hour-long rock concert
48-hour?
aired by nearly 200 stations over Labor Day weekend in 1975. Dozens of rock stars of the day and even reunited the Beatles. Hold on. It was also completely imaginary, a theater of the mind for the 70s. Using record albums recorded live in concert, plus crowd noise and other sound effects.
Oh, that's fucking
Stations
awesome.
who aired the special were reportedly inundated by callers demanding to know where it was.
That's fucking
So they could
awesome.
go.
A live show that
That's
isn't
fake.
real, that you're faking with crowd noise. That's fucking amazing.
Oh my god.
KUNS general manager recruited Serling, his old teacher, to also the Babylon 5 guy got work criticized by Serling in high school work. That was part of his teaching career too. I thought
So the Babylon 5 guy had Serling as a prop.
as a guy that read his writing.
This stinks.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It said it was a defining moment in his writing.
well, that shit's really important. Like Errol Morris was a student of Herzog.
Oh.
yeah.
That's
It stinks.
Werner Herzog eating a shoe was Werner Herzog saying, "If you can make a thin blue line, I will eat my shoe."
Yeah.
So these guys becoming teachers is
It's only-
transformative. It's a passing down of generational.
Your writing reads as what I would imagine shit tastes like.
Now this is great. Listen to the wording of this. They bring in Serling to do all these bumpers and promos, and he goes, "Hello, this is Ron Serling, and welcome back to Fantasy Park. The crowds here today are unreal."
Truly fantastic.
You wouldn't even believe
This is Fantasy Park.
Unbelievable.
if you saw them.
This is Fantasy Park, the greatest live concert never held.
He says that.
Yeah,
That's fucking. That's so. Oh, I love that so much.
so cool, man.
And there's to do a fake with crowds and everything. The Beatles would have loved it. If
Well,
you're-
it's also something that could
Straczynski
be,
is the Babylon 5 guy, the writer. J. Michael Straczynski. Yeah,
Oh, comic book writer.
yeah.
I fucking totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Straczynski was a student.
Oh, of Rod. Well, it was one time where he came in and he was criticizing writing.
Right. And then he fucking wrote some badass Spider-Man shit.
He would go and he would do, lectures and stuff. But yeah, he would do full-time teaching classes. But occasionally he would come by and be like, "Show me where your nerds are."
Yeah.
And then let me see their shit, which is really sweet.
Oh my god, could you imagine? That whole Fantasy Park thing, NPR did something like that maybe about a month ago.
Really?
About they were gonna do their world concert or whatever they normally do, like the Hollywood Bowl, but instead they just did it kind of all digitally. And I mean, do fucking Fantasy Park right now.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty great time.
Nobody can go see shit. Not here.
So yeah, he was May 3rd, 1975, minor heart attack, hospitalized. Was released. Second heart attack 2 weeks later. Open heart surgery. 10-hour-long procedures performed on June 26th, but Serling had a third heart attack on the operating table.
A heart attack on the operating table.
Died 2 days later
Insane.
at a Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester. He was 50 years old. His funeral and burial
That's where Sam Patch died. Coincidence?
I think. Yes.
Yes.
I think you don't don't live in Rochester.
Yeah, it's a big issue.
So yeah, it was he doesn't seem like the greatest success of all time, but in hindsight, it's.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, who's the greatest success of all time?
Well, I mean,
he is a.
Getting canceled 3 times in 5 seasons.
And
That's not his fault.
No.
No, I think it's a testament to the greatness.
Yes.
Because it succeeds despite the roadblocks, and it's one of those shows like it's in the top TV shows of all time.
It's
and
a show
it still
that
holds up.
It's a show that is still affecting shows today.
Yes.
Yes, and people said that he saw the decline of radio happening to television, and he was determined to stop it.
Yeah.
And he made radio plays on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Yeah. And they were good.
They're great.
They were better than they were as radio plays.
Yes.
Which is they were better than they were in the original. He took a thing and put it into a new medium, and it was better than the original.
Are you
medium.
familiar with FCC Chairman Newton N. Minow?
Minnow sounds like a thing I heard.
Yeah.
I suppose it does.
Oh,
But
the
the
SS
phrase,
minnow.
the phrase, "Are you familiar with FCC chairman?" is
because
Ajit Pai.
this speech,
only if they're terrible.
this speech that he gives, he calls television programming a vast wasteland,
Yeah, only if they're terrible.
citing the Twilight Zone as one of few episodes
Really,
in 1961.
As a good thing?
And
it's a good thing.
well, no, he was saying television sucks. The Twilight Zone's good.
Right.
And that speech is still cited on and on and on about, like, you know, basically speaking to the peak of people's intelligence.
Absolutely.
And how television does not.
Right.
And so it's ironic that it would come from the FCC, because you wouldn't think the demands for quality would be there, but also America was a different place then.
Yeah.
It was a different place. And he also kind of wrapped, like you said, he wrapped the medicine in sugar.
Yes.
Right. The little bit of sugar made the medicine go down, where, you know, how many episodes were critiquing bastions of power like the FCC.
Yes.
Right.
And whether they understood it or not, I mean, it's still good.
It's still good, man.
I mean, it still speaks to the top of your intelligence over half a century lator.
Yeah.
And nothing comes. I mean, Black Mirror is about as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah. Now here's my question for us. Think about this.
Are you ready for
Think about this. This is
imagine if you will.
This is a guy.
Say it.
Imagine if you will.
Oh my God.
This is a guy that is, I mean, obviously, you know, a sweeter, kinder soul, goes to the military, watches death every single day, and comes back, and he has a lot to say about seeing the blueprint for Armageddon. And then everybody wants to act like it's fucking all beaches and boat rides and sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. And you got to fight them to be like, we got to tell these people what the fuck is up, man. And like, how much patience that would take. I mean, holy fucking shit. You're waking up with nightmares. You got to fucking do 22 episodes of fucking television, most of which you write. And then you got to fight fucking the cheese guy
Who never went to see what you saw?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's really hard, and it's also, it would seem to have such urgency in you to be like, we cannot coddle these people too much.
Right.
Because a generation later, they'll be going to war. And also the whole time he did speak out against the Vietnam War. He was an outspoken anti-war activist. But also he was the first to sign up when he knew it was the right thing to do. You know?
What was your question?
Just what do you think that would be like?
Well, I imagine what he had to do.
He's listening over here. Go ahead.
But there wasn't a question.
I don't know.
I imagine what you have to do is I mean, you have to ask that question without asking that question, because you're part of this whole structure, and so you have to ask that question in a way that is couching that question with you're covering it. You can't say, let's talk about Emmett Till. You have to say, let's talk about Italian immigrant.
Yeah.
You know, and so you're constantly trying to...
Emilio Tillo.
I mean, that's basically...
He's Southern Italian.
Yeah.
And how
Sicilian.
frustrating that is. And, you know, because of the monopoly on the media at the time, which, you know, there's 3 stations. Could there have been more? I don't know. Was it a monopoly thing? Was it because of technology thing? But there's this balance between getting your story out and getting your story available to people.
Yeah.
And there's a balance between anybody can get their story out.
What's the balance of compromise that you make to ensure that it gets out without diluting it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
and seeing it as so many
you can be
people
the
as
most
possible.
you can be the most stubborn and stalwart in the purity of your message, but it'll never get out.
Right.
But also
you can get so pushed around that you change it so much and it does get out, but it's no longer even a shadow of the story that it was
Right,
before,
exactly.
right? But I think to answer the question you really asked that you didn't answer, Matt,
Sidestep.
is that, which is really brilliant, really great job that you did. But I think to answer your question, I think is for some people, I think guys, for guys that have seen what Rod Serling had seen, and many veterans and people who have had.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know you don't want to shove, gore from the Philippines in front of little Jody's face.
Right, but what I'm getting at is I think after going through experiences like that, everything else is cream cheese.
Yes, but I think
You get patience.
But the activist side of him would be like, how can I fucking make these people understand?
But it wasn't.
No,
It
sure, but
wasn't cream cheese.
But I think patience is. I think that's certainly something you learn in war, right?
Well, war
is 99% waiting around and 1% extreme horror and terror.
I mean, he learned that getting your show canceled is not as bad as dying because a fucking food falls on your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think if it reframes your...
How'd he die? Lunch.
There's no such thing as a free lunch.
R.I.P. Martin.
This guy paid with his life.
The sandwich is not that good.
Actually, it was actually pretty good. The sandwich is to die for, guys.
What did it cost? How much you pay for this sandwich?
Everything. So I think it just reframes your subjective reality in terms of what's a pain in the ass and what's not. And once you've gone through something like that, if I know that I'm going to get out what I need to get out at the end of dealing with all this red tape and bureaucracy, it sure beats a bayonet to the chest.
Sure, but that's good. But then the tough part is the tough part after that is when you're doing that and you still get canceled, and then you still get canceled.
Sure. How many? I mean, when he did get canceled, how long was it before they were like, come back? A year?
Well, that's the thing is that it's this frustration about thinking about my stuff about humanity and telling truths is what got me here, and now you don't want my humanity and truths. You know what I mean?
Are those the reasons that it got canceled, or were there ratings reasons?
Oh yeah, I think it was partially rating stuff or whatever. I think it was kind of like Black Mirror now, right? You don't want to see it all the time. You want to not get bummed out.
Yeah.
As much as you like it,
it's too real sometimes.
I don't want to, there's parts of the last season or two that I just haven't watched because I just can't take it.
Well, what did I tell John?
I love it and I want them to keep making it.
Yeah.
I wish there was just a button that said, yeah, I watched it.
So last time John and I were talking about Twilight Zone, I was like, I can't watch it every night.
Yeah.
Because every episode there's a man screaming. There's a man going, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you've got one of those I got one of those in my head already.
Yeah, and so I love the storytelling, but I do not want to listen to someone scream every time.
No, but they're in the Twilight Zone, man.
I know, and that's the tough thing is because
this Twilight Zone is out of sight.
Wow, this is a nice time. I really like it.
Girls screaming in your pornos, guys screaming in your Zonos.
I texted Matt. I was watching one. I was like, "Oh, there's no screaming yet."
1 minute later,
the whole town is screaming.
Yes, exactly.
That was the I am the night, color me black.
Okay.
The titles were so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just an iconic. It's just so. It is maybe the most iconic TV show of all time.
But it's not. It's not a bingeable thing. It is a thing you can watch once a week. It's perfect once a week.
I think you. I mean, here's. I agree with you in general, but
Sure.
I will tell you that there
A New
was
Year's marathon is nice.
Those
Sure,
New
yes,
Year's
I
or
understand, yes.
Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they would wrap. They would
Sci-Fi would definitely do it on Sci-Fi Channel would definitely do it on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and then I think
it was nice.
I think sometimes on Thanksgiving they would either do maybe Addams Family, but I feel like there was also a Twilight Zone marathon.
Right.
On those, I just remember sitting doing helping people cook.
Yeah.
And then seeing.
It's great seeing it with multi-generational people.
Yeah,
Yes,
because they remember when it came out.
we used to lynch people back in my day.
Younger folks who have never seen it before, seeing something in black and white on TV and going, "Oh, this is good."
Yes.
That's what that does.
It's so it's timeless.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
Is that it was the time element and it was a place beyond time and space and sight and sound and the vertical and the horizontal. Oh no, that's.
I mean, I
limits,
wonder.
but-
I imagine that
It's the most timeless TV
The
show.
parallel today is so you would watch that and then you'd watch The Odd Couple or something that would come on right after. So it'd be serious
we
or
get a
funny.
TV guide from 1961,
And now it's
A lot of westerns.
Now it's Law and Order SVU, and then
then Law and Order.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, no, they're on different stations, but I'm saying it's that type of thing.
are
where
our
it'd be
police procedurals are westerns?
yeah,
Police
yeah.
and doctors,
Yeah.
doctor procedurals.
Yeah.
What
That's
is
what they
that
doctor-
about?
Dude, I think
People love
honestly,
the medical
I think
drama.
It's either conscious or unconscious. It's like psyop. Like, oh, trust lawyers, trust cops, and trust doctors.
Trust doctors. Meanwhile, in
the
America,
institutions.
Meanwhile, in America, you
Who are
can't.
the people fucking you the most?
Yes.
Cops, doctors, and lawyers.
Well, not that, but hospitals.
Yeah.
Oh no, doctors are good. Doctors
Yeah,
are good,
but-
but hospitals,
yeah.
ER,
Yeah.
Chicago Hope.
Yeah.
And it's the thing too,
Other
yeah.
stuff.
And then when you get to like Breaking Bad and The Sopranos and stuff, it's them admitting that crime and drugs are also long-standing institutions.
And honestly, and these are the people you like the most.
Exactly, because at least they're being honest about it.
You know what I love about this is just a little tidbit. Breaking Bad, the Spanish version. Do you know what the title is called? It's better than Breaking Bad.
Tuesdays with Maury.
It's called Metastasis. Metastasize.
Wow.
But it's
That's-
Breaking Bad. That
that's
means
ve-
to break.
that-
It means Breaking Bad.
That's,
Yes.
really, that's really good.
But he's got cancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should.
Metastasis.
Could you imagine if the show was called Metastasis?
Yeah.
Oh god.
It's maybe a little too a highbrow for an American audience, but fuck, that's a good title.
That's really
man.
good. That's way.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
more
yeah.
appropriate. I feel.
The execs in America were like, "There's no
Nobody's
way
gonna get that.
Nobody's gonna know how to
No.
say it."
Could you make it have the same letter twice?
Is his name Matt? What is this?
Yeah. Could you just make it have a alliteration?
They were like, "Do you see metastasis?" That show is nuts.
That's what it would be. That's what would happen, my friend.
I don't know. I love the guy. I love
Yes,
his, I
so do
love
I.
his contribution.
I really appreciate it just completely.
And we
changed.
didn't even get into the cool 80s movies.
Cool 80s movie.
The Twilight Zone movie.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it
People
was
die
It was
and-
rebooted with Forrest Whitaker. It was rebooted by Jordan Peele. It was rebooted in the 80s.
John Lithgow was in it.
In the Twilight Zone movie, that's an off-camera Burgess Meredith narrating the whole thing.
No shit.
Burgess
Yeah.
Meredith.
Time enough at last.
Rod Serling's favorite episode of the show.
Yeah.
Is time enough at last?
Yeah.
Well, because that's what he used to do in the fucking foxholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magazines. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm here read my magazine.
And his favorite, not written by himself, was The Invaders by Matheson.
Which one was The Invaders?
The Invaders, I think, is the little one. The little people that are like, that's how the aliens land, but they're fucking tiny or whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
cool. I haven't seen that one yet.
I think that's it. I could be totally wrong. If I'm wrong, folks, call me out.
We'll find
Well,
out.
we'll ask friend of the show, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever fuck with invaders, Chris?
John, I got to tell you, making me hanker for a little Twilight Zone.
Dude, let's do it.
You know what I would do? I mean, I don't want to keep dragging on about it, but it's just something great to have on in the background if you're doing other creative stuff or drugs.
Yeah.
And like, have it on there. It's so comforting.
It is.
But also challenging. Like, it depends, as much as you want to like pay attention to it, it'll give right back.
It has
And
a
even
rhythm to it
yeah,
where you know to hop in.
it's
and
like
hop
having
out.
good music on in the background
Yeah.
that is not obtrusive or intrusive. Like, it can be there as a background thing, but that and if you decide to like dive in on it, it's totally engrossing.
Well, and TV at that time was so about telling you everything's chill, and the wife pours the man a drink when he comes home from work, and Bewitched. And this was a show like if you were an actor, you'd be like, thank God.
The who's who was
You know?
the people that were on that show.
Everybody from 12 Angry Men, except for Fonda.
Okay.
Everybody. Sometimes they would do 2 episodes.
Yeah, Burgess
Fonda's too
Meredith,
big.
Charles Bronson, the chick from Bewitched. What was her?
Montgomery.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that one they don't.
And Gene Roddenberry is like, yeah, I'm not getting there without. He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, I would see fucking what's his name doing
William Shatner.
Shatner.
Yeah,
and
Gene
everything.
Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shatner with his rug in that episode with the thing on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
good stuff.
jukebox episode with Shatner.
Jukebox
is
episode
great.
with Shatner is very good.
It's very good.
It's like it tells your fortune, and then it starts adding up, and then he can't. And then his wife is like, "Can we get out of here?"
It's this confirmation bias thing where he
Yeah.
starts looking for it to be right. It's like really an indictment of astrology,
Kind of.
and addiction and all that. And it's also one of these things. God, we keep talking about it. We could keep talking about it. But
We should in the Patreon. If you want to subscribe to the Patreon, please join us on there. We will continue talking about Rod Serling. Let's call it.
Yeah, let's do it.
and the Twilight Zone. And this has been an episode of
Profiles in Eccentricity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
Until next time, my name is Aaron Peter.
You might know me as Matt Brousseau.
What was that?
Yikes is what that was.
Yes.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Bye. Bye.
Scarpins Avenue.